pull up a chair. This is Off the Back Porch. Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer is brought to you in part by Country Village Sporting Goods. Everything you need to get in the woods, the water, or to the camp is at Country Village Sporting Goods. Jason Hardy State Farm. Like a good neighbor, Jason Hardy at State Farm is there. And Larry's Pizza in El Dorado, home of the Double Pizza Parade.
20 plus years of bringing you the most important and latest information with local happenings, news, sports, opinions, and probably an attempt at humor. Also brought to you in part by Davis Farms Country Market. For farm to table fresh, it's Davis Farms Country Market. Cook's Body Shop. Chances are it will happen. And when it does, look to Cook's. Murphy Arts District. For the latest information on concerts and events, go to eldomad.com.
Recorded live from Main Street Pizza in historic, beautiful downtown El Dorado, Arkansas. With a history of being the voices you trust. This is Off the Back Porch with Boomer and Sandy. Or Sandy and Boomer. Or two old guys you've known for a long time, whatever. And now your hosts, Troy, Boomer, Barrios, and B.A. Sandy Sanford.
And thank you, Johnny Dean, and welcome to another edition of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer. How are you, Boomer?
Would you like to have a Johnny Dean voice?
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, my word.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah.
Or the voice of our guest who we're going to have with us later today.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris Nale.
Chris Nale, yeah. He's got that big voice. Woo.
You know, I tried to hire him this year to do some games for me.
Uh-huh.
And he's like, man, I've already got my contracts. And
he's on the field.
Yeah, he's refereeing games.
Yeah.
But anyway, welcome to another edition. And Boomer, I'm just going to start this week a little differently. And I texted Boomer this the other day, and I said, you know, we've never made it a point. We never said we're not going to do politics.
Yeah.
We didn't say that.
Yeah.
But we've just tried to keep politics out as much as possible. I mean, every now and then, look, we're two old white guys. We're going to rant.
Yeah.
But we've tried to keep politics out as much as possible. But truth of the matter is I said, are we doing a disservice to our followers, to our listeners, and our viewers by not mentioning some stuff?
I think you're right. I think it's, it comes a time when people want to hear what you have to say maybe about a particular thing that has gone on. And something that's gone on this week that has just set us all in just got us reeling.
So, if you don't want to hear politics, fast forward.
Yeah.
Fast forward for the next few minutes because there's some things I'm going to say. And if you don't like what I have to say, that's fine. I applaud you for having a mind to think for yourself.
Sure.
But I'm going to say a few things. Last week when we were on the show, we said we very rarely ever get to have breaking news, and that breaking news was that Charlie Kirk had been shot. Mm-hmm. I think we both believed at that time that he was going to be okay.
He was in critical condition.
He was critical condition, but we felt like at that moment he was going to be okay. Between then and the end of the podcast, word had come out that he had passed away. Yeah. If you celebrate the death of Charlie Kirk, you are a despicable, worthless human being, plain and simple. Here's a man who is, by every account, was a fine, upstanding Christian man.
Yes.
He loved Jesus. He loved his wife. He loved his kids. Even if he didn't, celebrating his death across America is wrong. They did the same thing when Rush Limbaugh died.
He did.
And I thought that was wrong. So if you do that, we can't be friends. We're too far apart to be friends. I have watched and heard a number of things. Let me say this, and I think I did say this last week. Charlie Kirk, we did not know each other, but we have mutual friends. And I've talked to a number of them in the last week, and who are all just heartbroken. Yes. I mean, just absolutely devastated. But there have been so many things that have been said about Charlie Kirk that were just simply not true.
Yes.
And I felt like I cannot, in good conscience, come on this show and not say a few things here. Well, one of them being, this is the conservatives' George Floyd moment. Mm-hmm. Now, George Floyd should have never died in police custody. That was wrong.
That was wrong.
And that police officer, I think his last name was Chauvin, has been prosecuted by a jury of his peers. and adjudicated guilty and sent to prison.
Yeah.
But that is the only similarity in my mind is that the two men were unjustly killed, because after George Floyd died, there were 5 straight months of brutal violence in America. BLM and Antifa burning things down. There were 35 people killed. 1,500 police officers were injured. There was a federal courthouse was burnt to the ground. A police station was burnt to the ground. A historic church was burnt to the ground. There were protests and riots. There were members of Congress who would walk out and encourage the crowd to go find them and bash their head in.
Yeah.
Go find them and stomp on them.
Yeah, disrupt them.
And disrupting was the minor thing.
Yeah.
It was the call for violence, and it happened. Maxine Waters, when you had Nancy Pelosi, who's like, I don't understand why there's not more violence.
Yes.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Have you seen any of that out of the right? Have you seen any of that out of the right since Charlie Kirk's death?
All I've seen is vigils and people talking at church services and people saying, don't retaliate. This is not what we should do. And to start with, George Floyd wasn't a good human being.
He was not. He was an 8-time convicted criminal.
And that's notwithstanding, you don't hurt somebody.
You still don't kill him.
You still don't kill him. But you still don't go and blow. I've never understood that. When you go and burn things down and bash in windows and carry everything out of the store, how is that helping?
Where's the recompense of justice?
How are you helping move your cause forward by doing that?
Right.
Yeah.
A new pair of Nikes does not bring that man's life back.
No.
And a flat screen does not give his family the closure they need.
The little girl from Texas that's in the Senate, the black girl from Texas,
not Senate, in the Congress.
In the Congress,
Jasmine Crockett
said, "I would challenge people to show me something that the left has said."
Oh my gosh!
Oh my gosh! And they just played clip after clip, and those
12 minutes of clips
that you just mentioned.
Yes,
all of those. But Sandy, let me tell you something. J.D. Vance got on Charlie Kirk's show this week, and he did his show, and he said some of the things that you said. If you're doing this, we're too far apart.
There can be no unity if you're celebrating the man's death.
Yeah, if you do this, we're too far apart for you to be able to. Somewhere along the line, and when you call for coming together, well, we can't come together if you're doing that.
Right.
That's a non. We can't go forward. And let me tell you something. We're looking at evil versus good.
Pure
evil. If you think that a young man thinks he can get up on a rooftop and shoot somebody and kill them, and not think that that's evil, that's evil. I mean, a normal human being can't do that. And Sandy, we have, as the Christian right, there comes a time when, and God's going to, and it says so in His scriptures, He's going to make something good out of this. And I want to tell you, my circle of people that I associate with, it was a deep sorrow, just a weight that we all felt.
He's so young.
He's so young. He's 31, and those beautiful children and his lovely wife.
And they had to watch it. They saw it happen.
They saw it happen. And I told my wife, as soon as, I got on the internet, and of course, they showed it hitting him, and I told my wife.
I refused to watch it.
She says, well, I didn't mean to. Mm-hmm. It just happened. I just saw it, and I didn't know it was that graphic. And she says, I'm not going to look at it. I said, no. I said, we see that kind of gore on a movie, and it's just a movie, but this is real, and it was gory. But so we had this deep, saddening. And then our pastor, he didn't mention any names, but he talked about, what the evil is in our country. And let me just tell you something. People of all ages are searching for something to fill a hole in their self that was created by our Creator.
That's right.
People search for significance, for happiness, for joy, to fill that hole that only can be filled by our Creator. And when he said that we were created in his image, well, what you think you can get some other image and put in there? You cannot put a square peg in a round hole. and I'm not accusing you of doing it, but I searched in my life and tried to put things in my life in to fulfill that longing or that deep feeling that you have for significance, or all I can say is it's a God-sized hole inside yourself.
That's right.
That only God can fill, and we've all tried to fill it with other things. And I'm gonna tell you that the social media, the movies, and TV are all instruments of the devil. He's used all those things for instruments.
I say, yeah, they can be used.
He's used them.
Yeah.
They're not his.
Right.
But he has used them. And social media, and I'm going to tell you, the generation younger than Chris when he comes here, the kids that went through COVID and stayed inside and stayed apart, they are really suffering and behind socially.
There's a disconnect.
There's a disconnect with those kids, and I've got one in college and a smart young grandson, and he's in his third year in college, and he still has some social fears that he said he went to a big party at they don't call it Baptist Student Union anymore, they call it BCM, and he said there were a lot of people there, and we said, well, did you talk? She said, no, I didn't talk to anyone. Nobody talked to me. I said, well, Martha said, well, did you talk to anybody? No. He said, I just freeze. And I understand that. When you get in a crowd, sometimes you freeze. But social media has really thwarted our kids' growth socially. And we've got to stand up. It's time for us to stand up, Sandy.
And what does that mean? I think it means something different for everyone. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking that, first of all and foremost, and it's one of the reasons I'm doing this today, is we can't stay silent.
Uh-huh.
And I want to be very clear. George Floyd should have never died in police custody.
That's right. No.
However, he was an 8-time convicted criminal. He was a felon who was out of prison. He was in police custody because he was passing counterfeit checks or counterfeit dollar bills. He was also high on fentanyl.
At the time.
This is a man who had broken into a home and held a knife to a woman's belly who's pregnant as he robbed the home. Mm-hmm. Okay? There is no similarity from him to Charlie Kirk.
Didn't he just come from a store, a convenience store?
Yes,
where
he was at the convenience store. That's where the cops got him, stopped him. Mm-hmm. The other lie that I'm tired of hearing is this was right on right violence.
Yeah.
There is absolutely no truth to that.
Nothing.
So the alleged shooter, I'm not even going to say his name because I don't think it's
worthy
to say his name. Mm-hmm. But the alleged shooter, because his family is Mormon, he was immediately cast as a right winger. Mm-hmm. His trans partner or transitioning partner, he, she, they, whatever pronoun you want to use, also from a Mormon family. And so there was all this immediate consumption of media that these are right wingers, gun nuts. But come to find out, the alleged shooter is not right wing at all, is very much left wing, who was espousing or regurgitating things he had been told and heard, like calling people like Charlie Kirk a fascist and
I got
Nazi.
a chance to take him out.
And a Nazi.
Yeah.
If you really want to, I think before you should be able to use the term Nazi in a derogatory way to someone, I think you should have to sit down and talk to a Holocaust survivor. Mm-hmm. They can explain to you what a Nazi is. Uh-huh. It's not Donald Trump. It's not Charlie Kirk. It's not someone who believes in personal freedoms or owning guns or that marriage is between a man and a woman or that, life is sacred and should be protected. That's not a fascist.
No.
That's not a Nazi.
No.
And I think that we too long, and I know I say we, me, I too long have been silent.
Yeah.
because I'm like, I don't care what they think. The problem with not caring what people think is then the people who can't think correctly end up running the narrative.
Yeah, they get to say what we're thinking about.
and they
the inmates are running the asylum.
They have cheapened life so much that this kid thought there was nothing wrong with shooting Charlie Kirk. Made a joke of it.
He did
on a chat board or whatever a day or two before. Wouldn't it be funny if allegedly says, wouldn't it be funny if I were able to kill Charlie Kirk? I'm a snapshot. I'm a crack shot, and I've got a 30-06. You can't do that. You can't cheapen life that much. Now, we had this discussion at my house the other day. Can this young man be redeemed? Yes. Believe it or not.
Yeah.
As much as it pains some people to think that, that young man can accept Jesus Christ through faith by grace and become born again and go to heaven.
Yes, it can.
And you don't know what'll happen? Charlie Kirk will be at the gates hugging him when he walks in the door.
So glad you got to be here.
That's what would happen.
Exactly.
Chances are, probably won't happen. Just statistically, because wide is the path.
Yeah.
And narrow is the gate. So, but I think for me, the silence, I have to stop.
Yeah, we got to talk about it.
And I think we do have to talk about the value of life.
You know, Sandy, and I thought it was crazy. When video games first came out, you had 3 lives. And I said, I would hear people older than me, say, well, that just kind of cheapens it if you get 3 lives. And if you're dead, you're dead. That's going to give people the idea that you can just have more lives or life cheap. And I remember thinking, I was in my teens and I was thinking, all them old people don't know what they're talking about. It happened.
Guess what, Boomer?
It happened.
You don't just have 3 anymore.
Yeah.
You have Respawn.
You can get it.
I play violent video game, by the way. I do play Call of Duty Black Ops 6. It is horrifically violent.
Yeah.
But guess what? I'm 53 years old. It's not going to affect how I view the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Because one, it's a video game.
Yeah.
I recognize that.
You can differentiate.
Yes. But there are people who can't. As a matter of fact, you have a gamer tag. So it's your name, your online name. And the first little part is your clan. So if you have a group of friends that y'all like to play together a lot of the times they'll have the same clan tag. Okay. So it's about 5 letters. And, I play against people. It's like, it'll say LA. They're from Los Angeles. Or Bronco. Maybe it's a bunch of people from Colorado and they're Bronco fans. Play with a bunch of people who their clan tag is Hogs, HAWGS.
Okay.
Just whatever.
Okay.
Mine is Trump. and I really did it to be funny.
Yeah.
I did it like in 2016, 17, something like that. I did it to be funny. But I, on the regular, get screamed at online. Because, you wear headsets and you can talk to each other. I get screamed at and called all sorts of names just because I invoked the name Trump. And that's not even talking about how they talk to the Jesus people. If their clan tag is Jesus, they talk to them even worse. I don't understand how we live in a country, because with free speech comes a lot of responsibility. And I just don't understand how we live in a country where you think that's okay, that you can talk to me like that. Those are the people who should be glad I am well-hinged. Those are the people who should be glad that I can differentiate between the world out there and what I'm seeing on a screen. Because otherwise, if I'm not mentally stable and you talk to me like that, I have ways of finding you. I can do that. I know people. I have a limited amount of technical ability, but I know people who know people that can do things that would really upset you and upset your apple cart. But why? I don't, that's not,
You're not steeped in that. You're not based. Your real life is outside of that.
Yeah, that's a minimal thing of my life. A couple times a week,
Yeah.
Boomer, I have often said I am a man without a party. I quit calling myself a Republican a long time ago.
Yeah.
Because I was like, if this is what the Republican Party is, I don't want to be any part of it.
It used to be the old rich white people.
It did. But even the John McCain, Mitt Romney Republican Party, I didn't want anything to do with it.
Me either.
The George W. Bush Republican Party, I didn't want anything to do with it. Later, So I quit calling myself a Republican a long time ago. But I say I am a man without a party because, see, I don't believe that you can call on a woman and say, have that baby, have that baby. That baby deserves a chance to live. And then she has the baby, and then you point a finger at her and call her a welfare queen. That's wrong. You can't do that. And that's too many in the Republican Party do it. Mm-hmm. Have the baby, have the baby. Life is sacred, life is sacred. So she has the baby. But now she's a welfare queen. You can't, no. You can't say, we can't celebrate Charlie Kirk's death and then say, thank God Utah has the death penalty. To me, that's hypocritical. Mm-hmm. I'm not against the death penalty. Mm-hmm. Okay, I am not. But I think that the idea that we're going to celebrate if this young man is found guilty by a jury of his peers and sentenced to death and eventually executed, there will be people who celebrate, and that is just as wrong.
No, it's sad.
Because that is someone's son. Mm-hmm. That is
the poor dad that helped turn him in.
Yes. And, we had a guy one time that came to our radio stations, and then at that time there was a message board, and I don't remember the name of it, but it was all about radio. And this person then left our radio stations and got on this message board and started really bashing my employees and said some very hurtful and unkind things about them. Well, based on who it had said it, I knew who it was because of the things he said. I knew it was the guy that had been there the day before. And so I don't hide behind an anonymous name on those message boards. You'll see my name, Sandy Sanford. And I said, hey, you can't say that about my employees. I said, what you did was, because he called one of them the R word. And I said, that particular employee happens to have a special needs child. Mm-hmm. And you used the R word. Mm-hmm. And I said, that is still someone's husband, someone's father, someone's son, someone's brother, someone's grandchild. You can't do that. Mm-hmm. If you don't like me or the way I run my station, that's fine. That's fine. You can talk about all of that under one umbrella, but you can't start calling out my employees and calling them names. And you're either going to take down this post or I'm going to come visit you. And they took down the post. And we have to get to the place to where there's something worth standing up for. Uh-huh. And I'm not trying to be preachy, but
this is it.
But David goes to visit his brothers on the battlefield in the book of Samuel, and we, Goliath comes out and he's mocking the Israeli army, the Hebrews, and he's mocking their God, and David's like, how dare this uncircumcised Philistine stand out there, and they're all standing around with their knees knocking one against another, and David's like, is there not a cause? Is there not a reason? And I'm just telling you that there is now a cause. There is now a reason that those of us who've been the silent majority, and maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm the only one who's kept my mouth shut.
I don't think so, Sandy.
But I think that it's time that we call out evil for evil.
And the religious right has always kind of had a laissez-faire attitude about politics, that we didn't think we should be...
Politics didn't belong in the church.
And you shouldn't be talking about that in the church. And but when I say we just kind of held, we're going to send our person to Washington, and they're going to take care of it. And they didn't. And,
right. They took care of themselves.
Those guys didn't stand up for things. And that's gone on for a lot of years. But I think I see it turning.
I hope so.
I think I see a turn.
I hope so.
And I think some of the minorities are now seeing through 6 decades of the left saying, we just need to put more money. We just need to invest in our community. And and investing in the community hadn't helped. And although it's the right thing to do, to help a man.
Not the way they're doing it.
Not the way they're.
It's not helped.
Yeah.
You've basically turned urban areas into just war fields. Mm-hmm. You turn them into killing fields. Mm-hmm. You don't believe me? Go to Chicago this weekend. Let's see if you make it back.
Well, and then the National Guard is going to Memphis. Mm-hmm. They're going to go to Chicago, or Indiana. No, Chicago.
Chicago, yeah.
The governor of Illinois said he's welcoming. The mayor said, "Well, I hope we can get by our community with minimal disturbance by the." So what is he wants them to not do anything?
Well, also the mayor of Chicago is the one who came out and said, "I don't think you understand. You come here, we're going to resist. We're going to stand up. I don't think you understand, sir."
Yeah.
They have drones, okay? Mm-hmm. If you attack the National Guard, they will kill you. Mm-hmm. You need to understand this. The shame of it is this, Boomer, and that is if the National Guard went into Chicago today and they were attacked by street gangs and they killed a number of them, it would still be less deaths than what happens on a daily basis in Chicago. Mm-hmm. It would still be less deaths than what already happens on the streets of Chicago on any given day.
It's bad. It's
Don't let it be a holiday weekend.
It's a war zone.
It is a war zone.
In West Memphis, it's the same way.
You can't even get off the interstate in Memphis. Mm-hmm. And you just have to hope that this will make a difference. Mm-hmm. Are there bad cops out there? You better believe there are. And I worked with a bunch of them.
Yeah.
A bunch.
We saw that happen in Memphis.
The reason I am not a police officer today is because I thought that the bad cops were the exception, not the rule. Mm-hmm. And at least where I was, I can't speak for every department. I can just tell you about where I was. I was wrong.
Really?
I was the exception.
And you were ostracized, I'm sure.
Well, they tried. They tried. The problem is that ostracization doesn't stand up to truth very well. Mm-hmm. And it doesn't stand up to facts. Mm-hmm. Now facts don't seem to matter. Mm-hmm. But then it didn't stand up. And, eventually what you are comes out. Mm-hmm. It shows up.
Did you see the congressional hearing with the head of the FBI?
Kash Patel, yes. Where he called Chuck Schumer a buffoon. I agree. Now,
and every time Chuck Schumer would say something, he'd say, "Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you what's out of line." he was riffing on him.
I mean, and listen.
And then it happened with Cory Booker, too.
Yes.
Cory Booker didn't want him to say anything because if he says anything, and Gravely gave him time to say all those things. He says, if we're not doing our job, then we wouldn't have had 35,000 this, and we wouldn't have done this, and we wouldn't have captured all these. He just named everything the FBI's done in 6 months, and they said, well, that's why Cory Booker didn't want him to talk.
Right. And, of course, Cory Booker, terrible senator, in my opinion. I'm sure the people in New Jersey love him. I don't see how, but okay, whatever. Anyway, I'm finishing up my rant with what happened to Charlie Kirk was unacceptable. What happened afterwards was even worse. And I hope, and I pray, and I did. I prayed for our nation that night. And it's been a long time since I prayed for our nation. Yeah. And I admit that. I have not prayed for our nation in a long, long time. And not that my prayer makes any difference. But
the prayers of a righteous man availeth much, says the Bible. So we should.
Well,
don't disparage yourself.
And that's assuming I'm a righteous man, which I'm not sure I am.
Well,
mostly. I know me.
Mostly.
I know a lot about me that none of y'all know. So, but I prayed for our nation that night. And, when Rush Limbaugh died, I wondered who fills that void? Who's going to step in and, because nature abhors a vacuum, and who's going to step in and fill that? Well, I think we pretty much saw Joe Rogan kind of fill in. Joe Rogan is not an ideologue. He's not a dyed in the wool anything. He calls himself liberal, but he's not, and he likes guns too much.
Yeah.
But And then, you wonder, okay, with Charlie Kirk's passing after his assassination, his murder, who fills that role? And I think it's going to be interesting over the next few years just to see the voices that come out of this. And I think the most telling sign is that, what is it now, 18,000 new chapters of Turning Point have applied for charter.
I've seen numerous posts of people saying, I hadn't gone to church in a long time, but I felt I should go this past Sunday.
I saw a guy, he did a TikTok, he said, I haven't been to church since I was 12 years old. And he said, but if Charlie Kirk can't be at his church this week, I feel like it's the least I can do. And he said, I'm wearing a suit, I'm going to church.
Well, and that's what happens when someone that stands up for truth is taken out. And he's the first.
In love. And that's the thing. I cannot stand the idea of people saying he was a fascist and a racist and a homophobe. Man, do you not know? Have you not watched? Are you just regurgitating what someone else has said because you've not watched his videos?
You can. Most people that say a fascist, you say, well, what is a fascist? They can't even tell you.
They can't tell you.
Yeah.
But
anyway, sorry.
I saw a young black gay man this morning.
Saw him
on Instagram, and he talked about meeting Charlie Kirk when he was 17 years old, freshly out of the closet, did not know really how to express himself. And he said, I have a podcast today because Charlie Kirk helped me find my voice.
He said Charlie Kirk has several homosexuals that work for him.
Yes.
He said, so, he doesn't differentiate.
I never heard Charlie Kirk use
any hateful word.
Any hate speech. And that's the other thing. I need people to begin to define to me what is hate speech, because believing in the Second Amendment is not hate speech. Believing in the Constitution is not hate speech.
Well, what they
sorry.
That's all right. What they took out was when Charlie Kirk was saying that the black race was better back in the Jim Crow
40s.
era, and he was talking strictly about the family unit.
Yes.
That there were fathers involved then, and they're not now. And see what we've reaped from that, and that has been largely caused by our government. That we've created it a means by which it not honors, it gives to.
It celebrates, if nothing else, a fatherless home.
Yeah, I couldn't verbalize it.
I am not a big conspiracy theorist. I like hearing conspiracy theories, but most of the time I can pretty much tell that that's not true, within just a minute or two. However, for my black friends, many of my friends anyway, my black friends are conspiracy theorists. They believe that there is an ongoing conspiracy against them as a race. And I'm not sure they're wrong. But if you happen to be a black person who watches this podcast, think about this. Do you believe that the government has ever, at any point in the history of the United States of America, systematically gone after and tried to hold the black race down? I do. I believe they have.
Oh, I do too.
Then what makes you think that's not exactly what they're doing now? Or they've been trying to do for the last 60 plus years? They've been trying to, because they knew if they could remove the father from the home,
they could
and it's not just black homes, any home. Remove the two parents from the home, where one mom's working 3 and 4 jobs, and having to get assistance. Then who's left to raise that child? The government. I don't know about you, but I think I can do a better job raising my kids than the government can. I can do a better job of instilling in them what I believe to be right and virtuous and true. Now, whether they decide to abide by that later in life, that's their call. I have no bearing, no call over that. I have 6 children. My 3 adult children, one is extremely liberal, one is moderately liberal, and one is conservative. Now, the 3 younger ones, they don't have political feelings yet, except for the 9-year-old who wrote "Thanks for nothing, Joe Biden" on her homework. But
yeah, but she's smart. That child is smart.
But I'll tell you what you will never, ever hear anyone say about my children, ever, that they're disrespectful. Never. I have never had a teacher tell me my child was disrespectful. As a matter of fact, I had a teacher who was sending notes home all the time when Cam was in 3rd grade. She would send notes home every day. Cam had to sign the SAD pad. Cam had to change his color. Cam got a deduction for this. Cam this. Cam. And so I finally go to the school. I go down there. I'm like, tell me what's going on. I need to know, because I can tell you this, that when the child was in first grade, his teacher draped herself on him and looked at me crying and said, there were days he's the only reason I came to school. So tell me what's going on, and I will fix it. I promise you, I will fix it. And here were her complaints. He sits on his foot. Okay. He blurts out the answers. He shouldn't do that. I agree. I will certainly talk to, I said, are they right? Oh yeah, they're always right. So, okay. Excited maybe, at that time he's the baby of the family. And so, okay. He has to pee a lot. Okay. I don't know what I can do about that. I will talk to him about when he's drinking water and using his time better to go to the bathroom. I said, however, I will say genetically, he gets that. I mean, I've got the bladder of a 7-year-old girl. So I get it. But I will talk to him. But really, what's going on? What's happening? Has he ever been disrespectful? And she was like, no. I said, good, because I will walk in that class right now and yank him out and whip his ass in this hallway in front of you and whoever else wants to watch if he's ever disrespectful. Oh, no, he's never disrespectful. I said, then what's really the problem? Well, that's pretty much it. I said, didn't you tell me on Meet the Teacher night that you have a child, a son? Yeah. And I said, does he act any differently than Cam? She's like, no, but he's 5. I said, sister, I got news for you. It don't change till they're 25. It's not going to change. That's just kids. I said, I tell you what, don't send another letter to my house unless the child commits a felony.
I remember.
And I turned around and walked off. So that night I'm coaching Jackson's baseball team, and there's a teacher from that school who happens to be the mom of one of my players. And she comes over and plops down next to me in the dugout, and she says, hey, did you tell Miss So-and-so not to send a letter to your house unless child commits a crime? I said, no. I said, don't send a letter to my house unless it commits a felony. I don't even care about misdemeanors. Do not send another letter to my house unless that child commits a felony. She said, boy, she came in the teacher's lounge and was bashing you pretty hard. And she said, Cynthia Chisholm was the first one who spoke up. Thank you, Cynthia. Who's like, hang on a minute. She said, I've had all 3 of Sandy's kids. He's the dad you want. He's involved. He will help with that, whatever. There's been times that we had to raise money for this or whatever so that we could do something as a class. He was the one who would come in and say, did you get enough? If not, I will pay for everyone so that everyone can participate. She said, he's the dad you want. Another teacher, Monica Nash, says, I've had all 3 of Sandy's kids, and I just got to tell you, she's right. It's, he's that dad. He's involved. He helps them with their homework. He maintains a level of discipline. He holds them to a high standard. He does not accept anything less. And he's the kind of parent that you want. I've never had him say, not my kid. And then a third teacher, Jessica, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to say her last name because I don't remember what it is now because she's gotten married. But she's like, I've had 2 of the 3, and I went to high school with his brother-in-law. I can just tell you, Sandy's the parent you want, And so the teacher's like, well, then I wonder what the problem is. They said, it's you. You. So my children, liberal as some of them may be, I don't care. What do I care? Grow up, be your own person. All I've ever asked my kids is know what you believe and why you believe it. And if you can tell me those 2 things, I don't care what it is. Now, if I think you believe something that's detrimental, I'm going to tell you. Yeah. I'm going to say, that's not right, and here's why. But that doesn't mean they're going to listen to me.
Most likely won't.
Most likely they will not, and that's okay. They are living their own lives. But what you will never have anyone say to you is my child was disrespectful.
And that comes from a father in the home.
It does.
And that doesn't always happen. I know there's mothers like that too, but a lot of times it's, parents come in and, well, not my child. And we've had people say that before about what's going on today. And but I think bottom line is, like you said, we need to We need to
The
speak up.
silence is over.
The silence is over. Yeah.
I think that's the new era is going to be the silence is over.
Yep.
And that's that. We're going to take a break. When we come back, I promise it'll be much more lighthearted than this. We'll be back with more of Off the Back Porch right after this.
It's the one golf tournament everyone circles on their calendar. Serious and casual golfers alike love to play in the 32nd Annual First Financial Bank Share Golf Tournament, September 27th and 28th. 2 courses over 2 days. The Lions Club Municipal Course and the award-winning Mystic Creek Golf Course. Registrations are open now and a number of sponsorships are still available. Proceeds from the tournament benefit the South Arkansas Regional Hospital Foundation. For more information on the 32nd Annual First Financial Bank Share Golf Tournament or to register online, go to sharefoundation.com. You've waited all year. Don't miss it.
Everybody loves a parade, and Hilarious Pizza throws parades all week long. Bring the family in for your favorites, or explore the variety that Hilarious Pizza offers. Come join us at Hilarious Pizza for the greatest parade ever.
Derek Henry.
Hey, Jake from State Farm. I saved so much bundling, it inspired my workout. Auto! Home!
Okay. And this is Otto again, right?
Auto!
Hey, this is my living room.
Home!
Bundling, just another way to save with the personal price plan.
The dog isn't allowed on the couch, Derek.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Hey, and welcome back for more of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer. And Boomer, we have a special guest with us today.
Uh-huh.
And I'm talking about him like he's not sitting right
He's
here.
not really there.
Yeah, it's
Just play like he's not there right now.
Chris Nale. And he asked me yesterday, he said, so what are we going to talk about? And I
Yeah.
told him, we're going to talk about how life is unfair.
Okay.
And-
It is.
Well, that's pretty easy
And he
for
said-
me to talk about.
He's like, what do you mean? I said, well, look at you. He's tall,
Yeah.
handsome,
Dark.
lots of hair,
Uh-huh.
great voice,
Yeah, you get that big voice. Yeah.
fabulous athlete.
Yeah, good
Has
athlete.
hit a hole-in-one in golf.
Yeah.
That's true.
And then
That's
look at
good.
us.
Oh, you do that. Look at him. Look at us.
Yeah, now look at us and
Well-
tell me life is fair.
Yeah, life ain't fair. What you have the heart of a lion in the body of a gazelle or something.
Yeah. No,
a shark or something.
In the body of a hippopotamus.
Hey, can I tell you a story?
Yes.
Chris, you may be able to relate to this. Back in the day, okay, we're talking way back. Met this girl, kind of nice, pretty girl. I mean, blonde hair and tall and lanky. And we went out for a while, and she said, "I'm moving to Florida." I said, "Man, I hate that. See you."
Yeah.
One of those deals. I ain't going with you. So, clock along there. About 6 months later, this girl walks up to me, and when you said hippopotamus, that reminded me of the story. And it was red hair and short and like a hippopotamus. She goes, "Hey, Troy, how you doing?" I went, "Sorry, I'm not recalling." She goes, "Yeah, it's me," and I'm not gonna say her name. She goes, I went, "Oh, okay." She goes, "I know." She says, "I'm big as a hippopotamus now." I said, "Well, maybe just a water buffalo." And so that kind of ended that conversation.
Yeah.
So,
Making friends and influencing people.
I wasn't planning on trying to, regurgitate. Or
What
whatever,
happened to her in Florida?
She ate something
Yeah,
and
boy.
dyed her hair red and cut it short.
Something happened for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
You know how old people are. You say one word and they're
I
back
bet
in the
that was
50s.
really awkward too.
It was really
Yeah.
awkward.
I could see that.
Yeah. We was up in the club, So she, "Hey, how you doing?" I went, "Oh."
So, Chris, thanks for being on the show with
And I
us.
appreciate y'all
Yeah.
for inviting me.
And let's start off with, how old are you, Chris?
I'm 46 years old.
I thought so. I thought he was pretty close in age to me. And now he, like me, can relate.
Okay.
Your oldest child is how old?
22 years old.
Yeah, that's right.
And your baby is how old?
A year and a half.
Right there, brother.
Yeah.
Right there.
Man, I don't know. Let's just share some tears over
The
that one.
unos and the duos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My kids differentiate themselves. The three oldest call themselves the 1.0s, and they
Yeah.
call the three youngest the 2.0s.
2.0s.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. And I remember he stopped me. We were at DP's food truck park. He
Yeah.
stopped me, and he said, "Hey, man, I got to ask you something." I'm like, okay. He's like, "I'm having a baby." I said, "You're carrying it really well. I can't tell."
Yeah. It's not, you're not showing.
And I told him, I said, "Man, look, there's one thing about being in this stage of life and having a baby.
Yeah.
You're not worried about them.
Yeah.
You know, my oldest, Micah, when she was, she's 31. When she was a baby, you know, if she drank out of the dog bowl, I would have freaked out, right? Or ate dog food.
Yeah.
That youngest one,
yeah.
It don't hurt the dog. Drink it. I don't care.
Yeah. Eat them roaches while you're down there.
So, don't do roaches. But
I'll say this: there's a lot more patience when you're older with the child.
Yes.
That's true.
So I understand. You know, I still get called a grandparent a lot. I get a lot of people that'll be like, hey, your grandchild's so beautiful. And
just say, yeah, thanks.
Sometimes I do, and sometimes I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not. But you do have more patience. You're not as worried about what other people are doing. You know, when you're young and you have couples that aren't married, you know, or don't have children, and they're getting to doing things on the weekend, and you're not, right?
Yeah,
so it's like you're kind of, hey, let's see if such can keep them so we can go do this. And now you're more of like, you know what? I should have sit home anyway.
I'm happy to be right here.
We can't go. We got the baby.
Right, absolutely. And it is used as an excuse a lot now in my life.
I haven't thought about that.
But I do all the time.
Yeah.
I don't have a choice, buddy. So I mean,
staying at home is a lot more fun than it used to be, isn't it?
Absolutely,
Sure
it is.
brother.
Absolutely is. If I could get out the diaper stage, I would be okay.
And you're getting close, man. Listen, you've really, truthfully, you've made it through the hardest part.
Yeah, you have.
Well, I don't know. I think she's starting her terrible twos right now.
Well,
you got all.
But I will
stages.
say this, like you said. So when Kaylee, which is my oldest daughter, you know, she'd throw a fit, you would go down and coddle her and everything. And now I just step over this one. Her name's Chesney, and I step over and go, keep crying. I don't care. Nothing's going to change.
You'll figure it out.
So I do agree with you on that too. There's a lot more carefree on a lot of things.
You know, the shame of it is your youngest and my youngest, they're going to grow up like Gen Xers, like we did, like a cried out.
Yeah.
So what? You know?
Absolutely.
And, you know, not saying it's a bad thing either.
It's not. It's a blessing.
Teach her how to drink out of a hose.
Yeah, absolutely.
let me ask you this: if you got to the spot, maybe this is just a personal thing. Have you gotten to the spot where you'd rather watch the football game on TV than go to the stadium?
I do.
Yeah,
I do. I actually built. You know, I have a deck, and on Saturdays we have 30, 20, 30, 40 people over there,
and you see the replay and
see the replays. We have a bunch of TV set up, so all and you can enjoy it with your friends.
Hey, let me ask you something, Sandy. You ever had Chris call?
No, I was going to call Verizon and see what's up with my phone.
Here's the deal.
Maybe it's the cool kids.
This is a very true statement. It is an open invite. But I tell you what I will do. I will invite you, and then in 2 years from now, when I invite you every Saturday, and neither one of you show up, I'll come back on here and explain to them why people who say that never end up showing up.
You know what? You don't know me.
Yeah, Sandy's not that guy.
I got 6 kids. I'm willing to do anything to escape.
Hey, baby, I got to go for a minute. Listen, something came up.
And the good thing about having 6, the older ones can watch the younger ones.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
that is true.
That's back from the early days, back in the 1800s, when people have 6 kids, and if they had all daughters, they was mad because, nobody to plow the fields.
Nobody to work the fields, So,
anyway.
But now, he mentioned football games. Let's talk about that for a second. Chris and I have worked together refereeing football games. And I'll say this, he and Alan Gober are 2 of the best white hats I've ever worked with. So, when you have your officials out on the field, everyone has a black hat except the head referee, and his is a white hat. And Chris is a very good white hat. He's very good at explaining to a coach to shut up and go back to his sideline.
Absolutely.
Coach, I hear you, but go sit down.
I was telling him, you and I and a couple of us were doing a game here in the county one time, and there was a linebacker. And he asked me, because I'm umpire, I'm standing in the middle of the defense, looking at the offensive line. He asked me, are you ever going to throw a flag for holding? Well, I knew who the young man was, and I called him by name, and I said, if I see holding, I'll call it. And they were playing Genoa Central. What I had been seeing was about a 300-pound left guard who just been blowing this kid up every time he tried to rush inside. Because this linebacker is maybe a $155 soaking wet.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, though, as an official, sometimes you get game blind.
Yeah,
I'm going to pay attention. Well, next snap, he goes rushing in. This kid is big Samoan kid, just blows him up, knocks him over. The kid who's linebacker jumps up and says, "Are you ever going to throw an effing flag?" I said, "As a matter of fact,
that's right."
It looked like a bottle rocket.
You can't see that. You can't say that.
And so I gave him an unsportsmanlike and an ejection. Chris, the white hat, he comes over. He said, "What'd he do?" I said, "Use the magic word." He said, "Oh, well, then he's got to go."
Mm-hmm.
And the coach comes flying off the sideline. You know what happened?
Mm-hmm.
And told him, I said, "Coach, here's what he said." And he's like, ugh. He said,
the argument over.
He said, "Man, this is the second half, and I play Junction next week. I've got to have that kid."
Uh-huh.
And I said, "Get him off the field. I want to see his shoulder pads off.
Yeah,
it won't be an official ejection.
Okay,
but if I see his shoulder pads back, it's over."
Okay.
So we finished the game. In this particular school we were at, they fed us really well, paid us pretty good too, and we
is that negotiable, or it's not decided by the state?
No, it's not.
Oh, okay.
No, or else no one would ever go to Strong. No, I'm just serious. I mean, Strong pays really well.
Absolutely.
And because they can't get anyone to come if they don't.
Okay.
But we finished the game, and we go in the locker room. We're changing clothes, and I come walking out with these guys, and it's him, Steve Harrell, and maybe
I know where this is
maybe
going.
Clark Smith. I can't remember who else was with us.
I remember vividly.
And there's this boy and his mama standing there. And these guys say, "See you next week, bud." And they walk off. Yeah. And they walk off. And I'm like, okay. And she's like, "Mr. Referee, sir, can you please tell me what happened, why he had to come out of the game?" And I was like, "Yes, ma'am." And I told her, she said, "He said that?" "Yes, ma'am." She snatched him by his ear.
Grabbed him up by his ear.
And went to hauling his big butt right off that field. She's like, "Thank you." And away they went. You know what I've never heard? I've never heard about that kid getting arrested. I've never heard about him being in any trouble of any kind.
Yeah, no, that's because his mama was.
His mama was snatching a knot in him real quick. You know,
if she didn't, the grandma would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'll tell you, a lot of that has changed now.
Oh,
so
yeah.
This is my 21st year of reffing. I've had my own crew now for 16 of those 21 years. A good friend, Bubba Schultz.
Yeah.
You know, he was on my crew before he moved away to Corpus Christi, and I'm sure he's down there reading books or whatever, wherever he's at now. But
he's in Corpus.
Is he still in there?
Uh-huh.
And so you know, really enjoyed time with him while he was here, but things have changed, and you know, we're in a spot where a lot of parents think their kids do no wrong.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And you know, and there is a depletion of referees now than there was before, and a lot of it is because of parents and coaches,
the way they're treated,
and the way they act, you know, and things of that nature. You know, this is what I try to tell anybody getting in: you won't have thick skin your first year.
No,
you will be upset. Someone will make you mad.
Yeah,
it takes about 3 years to get thick skin.
Yeah.
And it actually rolls over into life at that point, where you have thick skin with other people.
You're flinching there forever.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, Coach Carpenter in Junction. You know, I remember the last time that I figured it out that, you know what, like none of this, they're just doing it for show. Is we were at a Garden game. And the Junction City, the Garden threw a pass or whatever, and they called in the back of the end zone, and Coach Carpenter looked at me and pointed at these 6 state troopers over there. And he said, "You see those 6 state troopers?" And I said, "Yeah, I see them." And he goes, "You better get them quick, because you're going to need every one of them to get out of here." And I turned around and looked right back at Coach Carpenter. And he is a great friend of mine now. And we laugh about a lot of stuff. And I said, "Well, good luck, because you're the first one I'm going to hit when y'all all keep running towards me." And he just kind of looked at me and smiled and kind of grinned and walked off the side. And after the game, he goes, "You know, I've never had anyone kind of come back and tell me anything like that." He said, "So that's pretty witty. I'm good with it like that." So
that's good.
Yeah.
Chris.
So you learn tough skin. You know, I've been with a lot of the head coaches in Union County. I have pretty much every contract in Union County. El Dorado uses an assigner out of Little Rock.
Yeah.
But other than that, all Union County and some in Magnolia and Monticello area and stuff like that. So, you know, I probably schedule about 48 games a year, and I have to do, 11 of them because there's a week 0 now.
Yeah.
So there's 11 weeks. So, finding referees for all those games, it's getting harder and harder. And quality is getting harder and harder.
That's
also.
true, yeah.
And it's noticeable on the field, in high school. And sometimes we forget about that. And as being a referee before and also having a program, right, that records El Dorado Wildcats football now. And what would be great is if we had someone in the booth where we could go back and look at stuff, because you're not perfect on the field. And our site, it's really weird because we have an advantage a lot of times of hearing what they say and what's going on, that parents would die if they knew how their kids acted on that football.
You better believe you was a kid. You didn't say all that in front of your parents.
No. I mean, they would die with how they act out there. But at the same time, you got to think about it like on TV. When you're in the stands, you're in a view above with an angle. And so there's things that they can see that we can't see.
That's right. Yeah.
So, that's why in college now that it's migrated to college tremendously on the video replay and stuff like that. So maybe one day, technology in high school will have some, but as of right now, it's just still human error.
Yeah, if you call it, it's done. Yeah.
Human error and human knowledge, I get tickled now. I'll be at a game and it's always a mom. There's always some mom in the stands that starts yelling first about, holding or something like that. And, I just want to tell anybody that's listening and that plays 2A or 3A football, there's a holding every play.
There could be, yeah.
We just decide when we're going to call it and if it affects the play.
The outcome.
If it affects the outcome of the play. Because you've got these guys going both ways most of the time.
Yeah.
They're tremendously tired.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's not as a clean game as an El Dorado game, where you play one side of the ball or the other. Your offense or defense, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it makes it a little bit more difficult to ref sometimes, that's for sure.
It does. And, we had a game one time, and I don't remember. I do. It was against Nashville. It was a scrimmage, El Dorado versus Nashville.
Okay.
And he's our white hat, and he says, "Who's where?" And I was like, "I'll be happy to be umpire." Not a lot of people want to be umpire because, again, you're in the middle of defense, and you got to be on head on a swivel. And I said, "But whatever you do, don't put me over there in front of Scott Reed.
Oh yeah,
we are too good of friends."
Yeah.
Because
don't put me on that sideline.
I can't lose a friendship over this because I've seen how Scott Reed talks to officials.
Yeah.
Well, Steve Harrell gets hurt, and I don't remember how we shifted, but he went to be an umpire and referee, and I had to move over of all places in front of Scott Reed. So there's a play downfield, there's a pass, and to me it looked like there was some pass interference, but it's not my call. I'm not there. That was someone else's call. And I don't know if it was Harshaw or who, but whoever it was didn't throw a flag. And here comes Reed, man, and he's like in my ear, rah, 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 rah. And I just keep walking, and he's just following me. He's right on my tail, and he's just in my ear.
That's called tail grabbing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And finally, after I'd heard enough, I turned around and said, "Scott, back off me." And he's like, "I didn't even realize it was you." He just saw an official and went for him,
And a lot of times that's how it works too. So
we were in Parker's Chapel one time, and Coach King was there.
Mark King,
and he's barking at me from the sideline. Safer. I was like, "What, Coach?" Now I'm out in the middle of the field, right? He said, "Stevie Wonder called, and he could see that was holding." That's your one, Coach.
That's so bad.
That's your one.
That's weak.
So that was like a JV game. It was a Monday night. So the next night we're doing Coach's Corner down at Bayou Bistro, rest in peace. And
oh yeah, I forgot about that.
We were down there, and Coach King comes walking. And he's like, "Hey, buddy." I said, "No. Hey, buddy's ass." you don't get to talk to me.
Hey, buddy.
You don't get to talk to me like you talked to me last night. He said, "Man, you got to get thicker skin." I said, "Coach, my skin is plenty thick."
Yeah. So I work in radio,
and I umpire baseball.
Yeah.
You really want to talk about getting talked ugly to?
Yeah, because you're right there.
Baseball.
Yeah, there's too many fans too close. I could never do that. Or basketball, I couldn't.
No, I couldn't do basketball either. But I said, "You don't get to talk to me like that, and you need to know
call
that,
me buddy.
And you need to know you don't get to talk to me like that." And I said, "The fact of the matter is if I didn't consider you my friend, I would have flagged you for that." And I said, "So don't do that again." I never had a problem with him anyway, but I never had another issue.
Yeah,
that season out of him.
Who was coach when you were in high school?
I had Coach Beck my sophomore year, Beckleheimer, and I had Coach Scooter Register Ellis my junior and senior year.
I thought you were there when Scooter was here.
Yeah, I was there. I was there at the beginning. So our first year, my junior year was his first year.
Alan Gober tells a story about Scooter Register, and big play. El Dorado made a big play, and Gober's on the sideline with Scooter, and he says, "Scooter," he says, "Coach, you got to get your team back." He said, "You don't realize how big a play this is for our program." He goes, "Yeah, but Coach, your whole team is on the field." He said, "You got to get back." And so, Alan, he had some real good stories about things that have happened, and one of them was in Pine Bluff.
Oh, wow.
Pine Bluff was playing Little Rock Christian.
Okay.
And Alan said those big boys at Pine Bluff were just drilling those boys in the ground. And he said one play came up and the boy got drilled in the ground, and he said, hollered at the Pine Bluff guy, says, "Get off of me, MF."
That's not a good thing to say in Pine Bluff.
And he said the Pine Bluff player reached down and helped the boy up and said, "I thought yours was a church school." I thought yours was a church school.
Which Pine Bluff, they've kind of fell off a little bit, but man, in the '90s,
they were awesome
at everything. Mm-hmm. Everything.
One of the best games I ever witnessed between Pine Bluff and El Dorado was in Pine Bluff, and El Dorado lost the game. But El Dorado was down 28-0 going into halftime. And we had to punt the ball, or they had to punt the ball to Pine Bluff, with just not long left in the half, just 15 seconds or something. It was so El Dorado punts the ball, and Luke Lansdale is flying down the field. This kid calls fair catch. Lansdale's 15 yards back still. He sees the kid called fair catch. And plowed him. I mean, decleats the kid. Hit the kid so hard when they got up off the field, he ran to the wrong sideline. He rang his bell that hard. And I remember saying, that may be 15 yards, it's worth it. Yeah. That may be 15 yards, it's worth it. And come out in the second half, El Dorado ties it 28-28. And then Pine Bluff scores. Went for two. Because they didn't have a field goal kicker.
Yeah.
And I still don't understand that. They went for two, missed it, and so it's 34-28. El Dorado has the ball, 32, 33 seconds, and I have it on DVD at my house somewhere. Driving down the field, Pine Bluff's wore out. They can't stop them. It's a steady dose of Taylor Reed and his stable of running backs, just left, right, up the middle, and we're just grinding and pound all the way down. 30-something seconds. El Dorado doesn't have any timeouts left, but that's okay. They're now like the 12-yard line. All of a sudden, buzzer goes off. Officials, game, and left the field with 30-something seconds on the clock.
What?
And just left the field.
I wasn't there for that, obviously.
And
I remember that.
I remember we interviewed Coach Reed, of course, right after the game, and we're like, "Coach, we have it on camera." I mean, we would have one camera that would get on the scoreboard and just, especially when it got down to the end, just keep the time. Coach, we have it on camera. And he's like, doesn't matter. It is what it is. They called the game, it's game. And, of course.
Well, that was some home cooking, no?
El Dorado did meet Pine Bluff again that year, except the next time was at War Memorial. And
that's when we won.
And
then that was when Kevin Waldron was the quarterback.
No. This
when they beat Pine Bluff, it wasn't. I thought when they were like 5-5. Well, that year I know they won it, but that was Kevin Waldron's son, not Clayton Waldron, I believe. His name.
No, it wasn't Clayton. It was Jackson.
Okay, so this is younger than that though. So Clayton was the quarterback, and then Jackson was the quarterback.
Yeah, but
we've had a lot of brothers, if you've noticed. Like
Matthew Shepard.
You had Shepard and John Thomas, and then of course the two Reed kids, and then. Yeah, the Jackson
kids. The Waldron kids. And I hadn't thought about that either, but you're right. A lot of brothers have filled that role. Jackson Waldron is one of my favorite athletes ever. I got him. He was 9 years old, I think, and played on my baseball team. And kid could throw, man. He had a rocket for an arm. But he had so much want to that if he got down to the count 3-0, he would swing. on purpose and miss the next pitch so that he could get another strike, another chance to hit.
He wanted to hit.
He wanted to hit. He threw his first no-hitter for me, and I remember we gave him the game ball afterwards. I asked him, had you ever thrown a no-hitter? He's like, no, sir, I hadn't. Fast forward a couple years, it's a Saturday night. It's like 11 o'clock at night, and I get a text, and it's from his mom, and she's like, hey, Coach, are you awake? Jackson wanted to talk to you. Yeah, I am. And so he calls, and he's like, Coach, just want to let you know, threw another no-hitter tonight. And so he got his second no-hitter. Cool. But cool. Jackson, such a fabulous kid, man. Just so much drive, and and you know, when he was younger, he was a heavier kid, and he went to weigh in his food. Like he would weigh a chicken breast and some brown rice, and because he said he got tired of being stuck on the offensive line, he wanted to be a quarterback.
He wanted to play,
and.
You know, the Gulper boys, I forgot about them. Yeah. They're both long snappers.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. There's a bunch of brothers. I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
But I would want to say the only time I weigh food is when it's at the Chinese restaurant and I'm getting a to-go plate.
They weigh it.
Yeah, they weigh it for you. See, sometimes it helps you because you're like, man, how much am I actually going to put in here? They charge per ounce almost, I feel like most of the time.
Yeah, that's cool.
You know, you're talking about the Gober boys. I gave Cale Gober his only touchdown in his entire high school career, and he wasn't even on the field.
You called his name?
So Boomer and I are doing a game on the radio. This is before we even doing TV. We were just on the radio, and I want to say maybe it was the Anzalone kid was quarterback. Maybe it was John Thomas. I don't remember, but it was a play right down at the end zone, and we handed the ball off, and the ball fumbles into the end zone, and an El Dorado player falls on it. And Toby Anderson's down on the sideline, and he's like, El Dorado has it, and it's touchdown. And so I'm looking down there for whatever reason. I saw number 54 or whatever his number was, and I looked down at my list, and I was like, Cale Gober. And Barry Dobson, rest in peace, leans across Boomer and taps me on the shoulder and points, and there's Cale standing on the sideline. So I said something to Cale on Facebook here a while back. I said, even though I wrongly gave you a touchdown, and he was like, hey, man, that's the only touchdown I've ever got in my life. He said, don't take it away from me.
Let me have it.
Yeah. Well, guys, what have y'all been doing this week? I mean, have y'all not gone to the fair? Y'all going to the fair this week? That's the question.
You know, we did the fair for a lot of years on radio.
Right.
And I probably won't be going to the fair.
You won't.
I don't ride the rides. I'm a wimp, man. Anything that messes with your equilibrium, I'm going to throw up. And, I don't like candy or popcorn kettle.
You don't like none of that? Yeah.
But, I mean, it's a great place for people to go that have kids and all the farm stuff that they do.
Well, kind of. Not a 1.5-year-old. It was rough. It was a rough night for me last night going, because they get she got on the rides. We tried to put them on. At first, she thought it was fun until they started moving. Then it was a disaster. It was a disaster.
Even the teacup thing?
No, yeah. And then we went and pet some goats, and then she decided to headbutt a goat. And I do not know why, but like she did. She just went like that. I don't know if she's seen on TV. Well, then the buck goat wanted to start headbutting her, and that was a bad situation. She pulled a cow's tail. We got in a lot of trouble last night with the 1.5-year-old. But the food was good. There was a lot of people, and I know there's going to be a lot more people out here
tonight. Did they trespass y'all? I mean,
no, they didn't. But they have a lot of rules now this year. You have a check-in station, so you don't go just straight in. You go to the right of where the entrance is. They have it barricaded off.
Okay.
And then they have like a place where they search you. Well, not search you, but like search your bags. Yeah. They have to be clear bags. You can't bring just purses in anymore unless they're clear. Yeah. So there's a lot of rules.
I got a clear purse. You got one too, don't you?
Yeah.
So there's a lot of rules, but it was nice, and there was a lot of people out there. And, luckily, not too many because I think it gets more packed Wednesday, and I know Thursday is when it. Thursday is when
big night.
And I definitely try not to be there on Thursday.
My 18-year-old, she's showing animals, and matter of fact, that's where she is right now. She's there showing. She has breeding rabbit, and so
we saw the rabbits.
Best of luck on that. As long as it doesn't come home, I don't care what happens to it.
Somebody buys it and makes rabbit stew or something.
Well, if it's a breeder, and it's a mini Rex, whatever that means. I don't know anything about rabbits.
Okay.
chickens, cows.
I thought rabbits were natural breeders. I mean, I've always heard that rabbits.
Are rabbits called does and fawns?
Does and bucks.
Or does and bucks.
Yes.
And last night I was like, wait, and I sort of went over there. So I learned something about rabbits last night. I saw the signs, and I was like, well, I never knew that. I guess it wasn't important enough to know, but I was like, well, that's interesting. And so we saw that there's some chickens and the does and the bucks, of rabbits. I did never know that. That is definitely something I'd have missed on a trivia question for sure.
yeah.
But if I can keep from going to the fair, I try to.
Yeah.
I told my kid one year, we were on our way to school. She was going to Washington Middle School at the time. And we're passing by the fairgrounds, and she looks over and she says, "When is the fair coming?" I said, "Oh, you didn't hear?" And she's like, "What?" I said, "Something about global warming and Donald Trump. They're not going to have one this year." And she believed me. That was the funny part.
Well, you're lucky, because I tell you, it is what they call expensive.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, man, it is. And you have kids. Well, you 6 kids. You'd have to get a loan from First Financial. Somebody, a bank would have to give you a loan. But it was an expensive night with just a 1.5-year-old, and me and Caitlin. I was like, man, this is it's a really nice steak dinner, for 3 we could have had. So
yeah. But you're right. I mean, but again, growing up, of course I didn't grow up here. I grew up in East Texas, and we had an annual fall fair or festival. It was the Poultry Festival, and because it's chicken growing capital of America, and we would go to that. And as a young teenage boy, I mean that was like a highlight of a year.
Absolutely.
And you wanted to be sure you were dating someone at that time, so you could take them with you, and kind of show them off a little bit.
I got you.
And even if y'all broke up a few weeks ago, you would still ask them, "Hey, do you just want to go to the fair?" And
as friends.
Oh yeah. Once you get to, I think, to the 6th, 7th grade, that's the cool place to be.
Yeah, that's true.
And it was. I mean, even when Amanda, before she moved, from El Dorado, I mean, when she was at Rogers, you'd have Rogers. Well, you might not know. Rogers was a school.
I'm aware.
Rogers is still alive. I just want to know that. I still have my Roger Rams Letterman's jacket.
There you go.
So anyway, it was a big deal, And then at that time, the junior highs were separate, so you had Rogers and Barton in the same grade.
Yeah.
So those were the only times really you got to intermingle
with the
other group, unless you had a birthday party of a friend, and then everybody went to the racket club. That was
seemed like
that was where all the birthdays were back
forever.
In the day, and the dances. So it was a place to see people that you wouldn't normally see on a regular basis. So.
Wow. And I grew up in a little bitty town. I mean, it about the size of Smackover. And
so you knew everybody.
Yeah. And everyone knew you, and that was the more important thing. Is everyone knew you, and
unfortunately, that can happen in a big town too.
If you acted a fool, Daddy would know before I got home.
Absolutely, that can happen here.
It is funny because my oldest son Jax, he's 26 now, but he was about 12 or 13. I'd got him a moped.
Yeah.
So he could get back and forth to school. And I would get reports daily from someone. I saw Jackson's moped. He was driving safe. He was so never got any alerts that he was doing anything he shouldn't do until the day that he called me. And so Eric Moree from El Dorado Glass.
Yeah.
And I want to say maybe Clint was there, but anyway, we're on hole number 1 at the country club. We are about to tee off. I mean, literally about to tee off. My phone rings, and it's my son. I answer. He's like, "Hey, Dad, I wrecked my moped." And I was like, "Are you okay?" "Yeah." "The car I hit's not." I was like, "Oh, no. Okay, where are you?" And he told me, and he was in front of the College Avenue Church of Christ, there in front of Clean Car Wash. And I was like, "Okay, I'll be right there." So I told them I got to go, and I get over there. Well, when I get there, I hear an ambulance coming, and I'm like, "Oh no." He's already told me he's okay, so I'm sure hoping it's not someone who fell out of the car and started yelling my spleen,
right.
And then I'm walking, I see blood.
Oh.
And I'm like, this. And I followed the trail with my eyes, and there stands my son, and there's blood going
out of what?
Out of his leg.
Oh.
And and he's talking to this police officer, and I walk over there, and the police officer's like, I have this. I said, "No, you don't." And I put my arm around him, and I said, "Sit down." He said, "I'm fine." I said, "Son, you're spurting blood. Sit down." And so he sat down, and within just a minute or two, he just started talking crazy, just out of his head. And
That's what I'd have done.
ambulance pulled up, and they throw him in the ambulance. And then I had the task of calling his mother to tell her.
Yeah, that's not fun. That's not fun.
And she answered the phone. I said, "Let me finish before you say anything else." Okay? She's like, "Okay." And I told her, Jax has been in an accident.
He's fine.
He is okay. He's on his way to the hospital, but he is in the back of an ambulance. And it was just quiet. And she said, "Are you done?" And I said, "Yeah." And it was,
mama thing.
Yeah. And he ended up, I think he got like 18, 19 staples in his leg.
Nice.
And he had a patch of gray hair when he got out of the hospital that night. I mean, there was a patch right here in the middle of his forehead that was just gray.
Probably from the peroxide.
And
Maybe, right.
So, or stress, I don't know.
Well.
Scared the color out of his hair. But
the bejesus.
Anyway, evidently, he's coming down College Avenue, and there's some girls over at the College Avenue Church of Christ, and he's looking at them and not noticing the brand spanking new Mustang in front of him with paper plates on it that stopped. And he hits it. And he goes over the handlebars, and the brake handle broke off into his leg, and that's what. And now I've got to talk to this guy who owns the car, right? And I'm thinking to myself, man, I walk over. This guy's like 6'6". He's this wide at the top and this narrow at the hips, and Marine Corps tattoos. I'm like.
Here we go.
I'm thinking to myself, be nice. You'll beat me up, but this is my kid. So be nice to me, So I walked up. I said, "Man, are you okay?" He said, "Man, I'm fine." And I said, "As far as your car," he said, "We can talk about the car later. How's your son?" I said, "I don't know. They just put him in the ambulance. I'm going to go check on him." I said, "But if you'll just take it over here and I'll pay for it." And he's like, "Man, that's what I got insurance for." I said, "Just take it there. I'll pay for it." And he did, and I did, and that was that. And they...
Well, that you were lucky.
Very.
He must have been a Republican.
Well, I don't know.
Nowadays, they'll be suing you over that.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And but that's the worst phone call. That's one of the worst phone calls you can get is, from as a parent, you answer your phone and your kid, and you're thinking, just normal phone call, and they're freaking out. And that's, that's never a good feeling. You can't get there to them fast enough.
That's it. Yeah. That's it.
Yeah, nowadays with my 22-year-old, she graduates in March from nursing school, and I get worried when she doesn't call to ask about Cash App, sending her money. I'm like, what's really going on? You start to get suspicious on stuff.
Are you dealing crank on the side?
Yeah,
I mean, how do you have money?
She's a Cash App daughter now. That's what I call her. Like most times. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's but.
Trying to get her off the payroll, all right? Trying to get her off, trying to get her hitched. Never, you talk about that like, it's my baby. I never, don't want to send them off, and then you start looking financially, and you're like, you know what? Someone else paying these bills might not be a bad idea,
I told people my oldest, and she and I just pretty much from the time she was 3. And I think it was because she realized I was the one who cooked. And so she started liking me then. She didn't like me up until then. But from the time she was 3 on, she was my little sidekick, my little ride or die. So I worked at a little bitty radio station in a little bitty Louisiana town that we covered everything. I mean, volleyball, basketball, softball, baseball, football, tiddlywinks, jump rope contest. If that school was doing it, we covered it and we sold sponsors. And that's basically the only way we could even halfway hope to make money. And my paychecks bounced a lot back then. But she would say, like on a Monday, she'd say, "Now, Daddy, where's the football game this week?" "Oh, well, we got to go down to New Orleans, and she was like, "Okay." And she'd go she had a little car seat that I would put in my truck when she was in there, and she'd slide it over in front of the door. And she'll get her Winnie the Pooh spin-a-night bag. That's what she called her spin-a-night bag. And throw it in that car seat.
There ain't nothing wrong with that.
On Monday or Tuesday. So to make sure I wouldn't forget her come Friday.
That's pretty awesome. Actually.
And thousands and thousands and thousands of miles that child traveled with me. And then when I moved to El Dorado, I was here by myself and was supposed to be here by myself for a year. And I don't know, a couple weeks after I'd moved here, she and her mom and brothers had come up to visit. and her mom was in the store, and we're just, because the boys were babies. I mean, little bitty babies, and we're just kind of riding in the parking lot. They're asleep, and she's sitting in the back seat. She said, "Daddy, can I get up front?" I was like, "Yeah, come on." So she gets up front, and she says, "We need to talk." Now she's like 7.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to talk. I was like, "Okay," and she said, "I can't do this." And I said, "Can't do what, baby?" And she said, "Oh, I got to live with my daddy." And I said, "Okay, you want to live with me? Come on." I said, "Now the only thing I'm going to say is, this was 2002. I said, election is coming up in a few weeks. Let me get through election night, because that's a big deal." And I said, "Let me get through election night, and the next day I will come get you and move you here." She's like, "Okay." So that night, all the kids were asleep, and we're at my little apartment in the hood. And I told her mom, I was like, "Hey, Micah's going to move here with me." And she's like, "No, she's not." And I was like, "Yeah, she is." And she's like, "But what about?" I said, "Hey, no, what about?" I said, "Kid wants to move here with me. She can move here with me. It's that simple." And I said, it'll be, right now, she's just a 7-year-old babysitter for you. And that's not fair to her.
Right.
I said, "Let her move here with me. She can start school. We're going to be good." So she did. And so for the first year, it was just the two of us. And
that's a pretty big bond right there.
It is. It is. And, again, she's still my ride or die.
Right.
But here's the deal. She's about to become a profit center for.
She graduates law school.
Graduates law school from Tulsa University.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. She graduates law school in May. So.
And she had one company, and I won't mention it, that she worked for, that said if she would go become a lawyer and come back, she'd have a job with them for as long as she wanted.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah. And
it's awesome that we also know a lawyer.
Yeah.
I mean,
we need one.
You never know what can happen on a rainy day. I mean,
unfortunately, we do know what happens. That's why we need a lawyer.
Touche.
Oh, my.
Yeah. And so, but that's when you get those bonds. And I told her one day, I said something about, one of these days, if I give you away, if you're going to change the name that I gave you, that person has to be worthy. And she was like, "Oh, I'm not changing my name." She said, "I might hyphenate or something, but I'm always going to be a Sanders." Okay.
If you look on Facebook nowadays, with people that I grew up with, they still have their maiden names.
They put their name on there.
Yeah, they'll put their name so people remember who they are, not their last name. So that definitely sticks around.
My wife, when we got married 11 years ago. So when we got married, she kept her last name. She didn't hyphenate. She just uses her maiden name as her middle name.
Yeah.
And
that's what they used to do in the old days.
Yeah. And of course, she also has a bunch of licenses, medical licenses and all that. And so it's not easy for her to change her name.
Yeah.
And, she's got, I don't know, 7 or 8 different licenses. Yeah. And she's got to keep all that straight and in order. So it's not like she could just, today I'm a Smith, or today I'm a Jones, or, it's not that easy for her. So I get it. But man, tell me about football officiating this season. How's it going?
Man, it's actually going pretty well. We have some good teams in Union County. Sometimes we have some bad years. Sometimes we have some good ones. El Dorado's ranked in the top 5, the top 10, but it's on the number 5 this week. Smackover with Brandon Polk's, son there, man, let me tell you, that Polk kid is good.
He's phenomenal.
If you think about it, he's the only freshman to start at quarterback for El Dorado. He's a freshman. He started a playoff game, I think that was Stevens last year, whatever, in the rebuild, Brandover and everything, that's pretty huge, you know, and he is at Smackover, and I didn't realize how good he could run, but I reffed the Smackover Junction game last Friday night.
Which absolutely had to be a great game.
It was really good, and, both of those teams are going to be, and I have an opportunity. Oh, absolutely, they're in contention. Both of them have a chance to win a state championship this year, and for them to start, their rivalry, and they have a trophy now, and all, and it's something that that we need in this county for that. So
they could build on that.
Absolutely. So football, we have some really good teams, here in Union County, and that it just brings the fans. Like, you go to a 2A game and and I mean it's a little bit different than El Dorado, but to an extent it's not. When you're winning, they come out.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So when we had Smackover and Junction, you couldn't see around the whole field. Everything was full. You know, when I played my senior year, which would have been the fall of '96. It was Scooter's second year. We were preseason number 1, and that was the first time they moved the band out of the stands, and they put them on because it was full on both sides. Now, if you remember during Coach Beckleheimer's day, the home side was on the other side.
Yeah.
It was on the other side of the stadium.
Yeah.
So the visitors had a bigger side of the stadium, which was really always weird to me.
Yeah.
And not in the sun.
Yeah. So when Registers got there, then that's the first thing he changed. He's like, we're not going out on that side. And it's smaller. It made no sense.
Yeah.
So, started that. So, when we were winning, I mean, it was the place to be in El Dorado. And, and to where when we got into the playoffs, we lost to Van Buren that year in the state semis. A lot of people don't remember that Matt Jones was on their team that year before, he went to Fort Smith. And so, they were a really good team, and it was in the rain. We lost 12-7. There's some things you never forget, about sports, anything that happens. But we had a really good team, and we had really good support, And to me, the biggest thing for schools that are looking to grow a good football team is you got to have the support of the community.
That's true.
When you have people that are coming to the games, it makes kids want to play.
Yeah.
And if you and you'll see that, even with El Dorado, where it dropped off for a while, people coming to the game, and you saw that with the kids turning out to play. So it's really a big deal for the community to come out to support the players, but to support the team as in general. And what it does is it builds up. So for kids that are younger, they get to go to the game now because their parents are taking them to the game because they're going to watch, and it makes them want to be more involved. So that's just a tidbit that I've noticed since kind of I've gotten back from college, and started reffing and everything. That's one of the biggest things that I've noticed is when you have more support with the community, they have more players.
Yeah. Well, kids just want to be a part of
they do.
What's going on,
when I was in high school, our senior year, we had to have tryouts our senior year because we had over 100 players. We didn't have enough jerseys, so they had some set aside, but then they had to figure out, hey, who's only going to be able to do JV, and who was going to do varsity, cut it down because they didn't have the register didn't have enough jerseys. And that was when he went to Murphy Oil and was like, hey, we need jerseys.
Yeah.
And, and at that time, before that, it was just whatever the school bought. So, Scooter Register, I know he's talked about a lot here, but, man, he did a lot of things to start the groundwork.
He did.
For this place.
And, obviously, the main era that I have to go back to is the Scott Reed
era. Right, absolutely.
And, of course, disclaimer, total transparency, Scott and I were and are really good friends. I've known Scott since he was a quarterbacks coach at Stephen F. Austin State University in Nacogdoches, Texas, and I would do the Stephen F. Austin games. And I still, to this day, remember watching him hurl a kid like a Frisbee when a fight broke out in the middle of the field between them and their hated rival, Sam Houston State, and the day after Thanksgiving. And I still remember that to this day. That game actually is what cost Coach Reed and that entire coaching staff their jobs because they got beat by Sam Houston State in Nacogdoches. And that just not acceptable. Anyway, Scott Reed and I are good friends. But I go back to, one day we're playing golf and he tells me, man, I don't know what I'm going to do. I need, and I think it was shoulder pads. And he's like, we're using shoulder pads that are being riveted together, taped together. I mean, and I'm not even sure they're providing any protection. They're just there. And I was like, so how much are we talking about? And he was like, well, this much. And he said, but I'm $3,000 short. And I don't know. I was like, Coach, we got this. And thus began the Kicks 103 Wildcat
Scramble.
And that's how the Wildcat Scramble came to be. And we would do that every year and hand him a big old check every year, I don't remember how much it got up to. It was a lot. We were raising a lot of money for him.
And because of that, he was on our team.
That's right.
That's right. So
Well, and not only that, they were winning, right?
I mean, he was on our golf. Our
golf.
So,
yeah.
So let me tell you about the very first Wildcat Scramble.
I was going to say
Our
that.
foursome was Scott Reed, Chris Ely,
Oh, okay.
Boomer, me.
Scott Reed and Chris Ely.
Yeah,
That-
absolutely.
That was the team.
That was the team. We're on hole number 2, coming back down at the country club, and you hear whack, and boom, a golf ball hit Scott Reed right under the
In
armpit.
short ribs.
Right under the armpit there. And I mean, it hit him hard. We've debated who all it was that did it. I think we figured out it was Coach Nash.
We knew who the foursome was, and it was all coaches.
Yeah.
That makes it even better at that point.
And the look that Scott Reed gave them when he
man.
turned around, I was going, ooh.
There's somebody's going to be coaching junior high for the rest of their life.
that was a bruise.
Scouting.
Yeah.
Scouting on Friday
junior
nights.
high games. And so, boy, by the time that we finished that match, which we did win.
Yeah, by the way.
Yeah, we had like a 50 or something. I remember 22 under or something. But Scott relifted his shirt. Man, he was purple from his
Absolutely
waist
was.
to his armpit, and it was bad.
And by the way, Sandy and I just rode and drank that.
Hey,
whole time.
you know what?
The only thing I remember
What's wrong
doing,
with that?
Right.
I mean,
the only thing I remember contributing on that entire round was there was the free 5-iron hole, which was number 18, and so we hit our 5 irons, and we're still 300 plus out.
right.
But you're laying 0, you get to tee the
That's
ball
right.
up, and I teed it up and hit the green.
You did.
I drove it to the green, and Edie looked at me and said, "No, the rest of us hit. Can't none of the rest of us hit that."
What we gonna do? Knock it in?
Go putt. Go putt. That's what you do.
And we did, and it was close. I mean, it wasn't from
Yeah.
here to across the street.
Right.
It was
a proud moment.
It was. It's one of the few. Those are the moments I remember on the golf course.
Sure.
That and Boomer peeing on the golf course all the time. But anyway,
And you got to go. You got to go.
That's it, man. Like, it doesn't matter to me.
That's right.
Yeah.
but I was at the country club one time, and we were coming up to what was then number 17, and which is a par 3. And Tom Mangum always says, "Are you in?" And that means $100 hole in one.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're pulling up. I'm like, "In," before he even asked. In. He said, "I'm in." And whoever else was with us, they were in. And my phone rings, and it's this guy. And I'm like, "That's strange." So I answer, and he's like, "Hey, dude, I'm going to send you a picture." I was like, "Okay." And about then my phone chirps, and I look down, and it's him laying on the ground like this, holding the golf ball. He said, "I just hit a hole in one." Were you in Smackover? Or
I was at the Lions Club.
Lions Club.
And I had a lot of people upset because John Fortune, who recently passed away, he played out there a lot, and he was actually there. He was there watching. So I had some witnesses. Thank goodness I had some witnesses, right? And I was with this guy named Kevin Sibley and his girlfriend. But John Fortune, then we're walking. Well, the craziest part about this story is I'm going up to the hole, and John Fortune goes, "Hey, Chris, you want to take the plastic off that club first?" They were brand new, and I was proud to have them. But I hadn't even swung the club yet. So I took the plastic off and then hit the home run. Well, it was a packed day that day. There was a lot of people there. Well, as you could probably understand, people are telling me, get off the green. And, of course, me, which I can't say probably even on this podcast, what I told them back.
Right.
And how I was going to take pictures and post for this because it would never happen again.
Right.
And so I did. I sent them to everybody. And I'll never forget that day because that night I went out celebrating. I had the golf ball. I had pictures. And I go down into the mink eye, and Billy Blackburn's in there. And I said, "Man, you're not going to believe this. I hit a hole in one." And he's like, "Man, congratulations." He goes, "Yeah, I hit one at Camden for $5,000 today." And I was like,
It sure took all the air out.
yeah. So he hit one in Camden that day for money.
And you're buying drinks.
And here I am. I got it for pride and, just thinking. So I was like, you know what? But I promise you I haven't since.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's safe to say.
I have witnessed 2. I've been playing with someone who's hit Jim Tidwell and Tom Mangum. But I have never.
It's a lucky feeling.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
But you got to have luck.
You gotta
There's
be
no
luck.
skill to it.
No,
So,
you just happen to hit it there.
We had a manager at our Hot Springs radio station, this guy by the name of Jamie Friend, fabulous guy. And I called him and said, "Hey, man, I'm going to come up. Let's meet about this, and then let's take the afternoon. We'll go play some golf." And he's like, "Okay." So he gets us, and I for the life of me, I can't remember. I think we were at Diamond Head, may have been Diamante. I don't remember, but I do know it's a par 3. There is no fairway. It's just water and the green. And I remember it's exactly 140 yards. And for me, that's a good, smooth 7-iron. And so we're there. I hit, and I'm watching it. And he was like, "Man, that's on the money." I said, "No, it's going to be long. It's going to be way too long." And the ball goes over towards the green. Well, it's in the shade, and so we can't see it, but it sounded weird. Just some kind of rattling. He hits. We pull up over there, and there's a guy emptying the trash can. He said, "Who was the first guy that hit?" I was like, "That was me." He said, "I've been a pro out here for 20-something years, and I've never seen shit like that in my life." I was like, at this point, I'm scared. I'm thinking I'm going to hit him or the trash cans or his golf cart. He said, "When you hit, I thought, well, that's going to be a little long." And he said, "That ball came in." He said, "It went straight down in the hole, bounced straight up, and the flag stick popped it, and it's laying right there." And looked over in the bottom of the hole, and there was some dirt and grass with dimples in it.
Oh, so you airmailed it to the bottom of the hole.
Oh, that's heartbreaking right there.
Yeah. And Kevin Waldrum and I were playing in the, I think it was the Civitans golf tournament. Kiwanis, Civitan.
Yeah, it was Kiwanis.
But we're playing in that. We had never played golf together ever. And we get to number 5 there at the Lions Club, and I hit, and that ball rolls and rolls and rolls after it lands on the green, and it gets right up to the hole, and we're all screaming and jumping up and down, and it stops. And Waldron got over there and jumped up and down beside it, trying to get it to fall in, and it didn't. And so, obviously I won the closest to the pin. Yeah. It was sponsored by Alan Brooker, and I won a sleeve of balls, but not Titleist.
Not yet. Some Wilsons.
Pro staff.
Pro staff.
Some Strixons or something, some
No, Strixons are way too much for him.
Or the ones with the stripe around it. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Have a whole case of them.
What's this practice mean on this ball?
It's just telling you need to practice more. That's it.
A sleeve of balls.
Yeah, a sleeve of balls,
we can't
but not
cuss
Titleist.
We can't cuss him because he's gone.
Yeah, that's right. But hey, though, again, you play and you remember those moments.
Absolutely.
You try not to remember the other reasons. Sure. The other things.
Yeah.
You mentioned Matt Jones a while ago. I met Matt Jones. He was in 8th grade, and Mike Poor and I were playing at a place in Van Buren called the Cedars Golf Club there. And this long-legged, lanky kid comes up there, and he's like, "Hey, man." And we're talking to him, and he knows Mike, and Mike knew him, and they're talking. And this kid pulls out like a $300-something driver. Now, this is in the mid-'90s. He pulls out like a $300-something driver and starts teeing up iron ore and hitting it because it shot sparks.
Oh, my word.
Anyways, he gets done doing that and drives off, and Mike looks at him and said, "He's going to be next quarterback at Arkansas. You mark my words." I was like,
"I'll be."
God help you is all I can say, because that kid ain't bright.
Yeah.
So he's like, his dad was he at he wasn't at Greenwood. He was at Van Buren.
He was at Van Buren and then went to Fort Smith.
Yeah. And
went to Southside after that.
I think his dad was his coach or something.
Yeah, something like that.
And anyway, he said, "Yeah, Matt Jones." Well, then sure enough, Matt freaking Jones,
icon of Arkansas Razorback football.
Miracle on Markham and all that.
All that stuff.
And I remember watching him. It was the weekend I moved. The weekend I moved here was, I guess, the first week I was here. That weekend, Arkansas was playing Texas in 2002, and it was the weekend of the South Ark Outdoor Expo. And I remember I was on a rib judging team, and it was like me, Cindy Langston, Alexis Alexander, and someone else. And I'm getting ready to go over there for that, and I glance over at a TV that's at the radio station, and I'm watching Matt Jones, and it doesn't look like he's running that fast. But he is constantly separating himself from that Texas defense as he's running.
He was so long and lanky.
Man, that guy, just watching him run. Mm-hmm. I remember Boomer and I went to a game in Little Rock one time. It was Arkansas, and I want to say it was Ole Miss. And Darren McFadden was a freshman. when that game was over, I told him, I said, Boomer, you know, I've called a lot of games for guys who are in the NFL today. Cadillac Williams, Cedric Benson, all those booty kids that played at Evangel. I know talent. I said, that kid is going to be a Heisman winner. And he's like, you think so? I was like, I do. I do. And, of course, he wasn't. But, of course,
he should have been.
He should have been.
Yep, should have been.
You know, but
definitely got robbed of that.
Yeah. Now, I don't know. Let's see. The first year he lost to Tebow, right?
No, the first year he lost to Troy Smith of Ohio State.
That's the year I felt he was robbed.
And this is what happened, if you notice. So he should have won it. They know he should have won it. So the next year, what does he do? His rushing attempts, rushing yardage, and everything is more than the last year. So he beat every record that he had the year before. And we have to remember, he also had a guy by the name of Felix Jones and Peyton Hillis in his back.
Yes.
So it wasn't like he was getting 100% of the carries.
Yeah, he was the only horse in the stable.
Yeah, absolutely. They both went in the first round. And you beat everything that you did the year before to be it. And then Tebow comes in and they go, well, you know, we wanted to give it to McFadden as a sophomore, and we've never done that before, if you remember. So they were just like, so we're just going to give it to him as a sophomore. And he was a two-time Doak Walker winner, but he definitely got robbed with the Troy Smith because he should have won it that year.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, Tebow, look, you can't take anything away from him. You know, the kid was a freshman, and what he was doing at Florida was absolutely incredibly
amazing. How did he not translate for the NFL?
His arm wasn't good enough. First of all,
I mean, it was the one the offense he was in. It wasn't like it was kind of like a pass run and shoot, but not a long ball, stuff like that. So because remember his freshman year, Chris Leak was the starting quarterback, and he kind of started going in, and then his sophomore year, just out of the blue, I mean, he just ran the ball.
Yeah,
I mean, he had 30-something touchdowns of running the ball. I mean, it was insane.
I always thought that that he was misused in the NFL. If I'm a head coach and I have Tim Tebow, he's in my backfield, but you don't know if we snap it to him, is he going to run or is he going to dunk it over the middle for a pass? Or if we snap it to a quarterback and he hands it to Tebow, is he going to run or is he going to pass? And to me, I just think you could freeze a whole lot of defense just by having him in the backfield. One of my biggest complaints about Houston Nutt was you're playing in the game of your life, and you're fourth down and you don't have Felix Jones, Peyton Hillis, or Darren McFadden even on the field. And his excuse was, well, they were tired. Man, this is the last play of the game.
Yeah.
You got to have them on the field just to freeze the linebackers.
Yeah. Yep.
And that was to me, I don't know. A lot of things about Houston Nutt I didn't understand, but that was definitely.
He was a great motivational speaker.
Yeah.
He definitely got players that weren't as good as they should have been. He made them better. I mean, he had a lot of good qualities. My only thing with Houston Nutt is his go-to play on a 3rd and 15 is a quarterback draw or a halfback draw, and I was like, "Why? Like, what is going on here?" But
that's what I remember. We're watching the game one time, and it was a situation like that, like 3rd and 16 or something, and it was Steve Harrell. I think he said, my grandfather just called and said it's going to be a draw.
That was the running thing with him.
And
I mean, Arkansas football. I think this team's good this year. Since we're just talking about saying, I think our defensive backs are absolutely horrible.
Yeah, well,
but we have to. This is what you have to think of, and this is a new perspective that I've gotten over the last 2 weeks about rankings in football, and this is how I think it's so coordinated to be unfair. Arkansas just played Ole Miss, which was number 14th in the country. Went toe-to-toe. Should have beat them. If we would have made those 2 field goals, the fumble at the end wouldn't have mattered because we'd have been running the ball to take time off the clock to kick a field goal to win the game. So you have to think of that. And we fumble, but we've done that in so many games too, But so think of this. Iowa State is ranked number 12 in the country. Okay? They played Arkansas State last week and almost lost to them.
Yeah.
We beat Arkansas State by 40.
Beat the wheels off
of them. Now, if you remember, Iowa State played Kansas State at the beginning of the year in Ireland. Yeah. And everybody was talking about how good Kansas State is. Well, now we find out that Kansas State's absolutely horrible, right? So Iowa State's ranked number 12, So I'm thinking, if we were in the Big 12, if Arkansas was in we'd be a top 10 school right now.
Yeah.
and go in the playoffs. And that's why it's so hard in the SEC. Everybody gets upset, and it's like, you got to understand at some point it's bigger than the sport. It's a money thing now, right? I mean, we've learned this. Texas pretty much left because they were the Longhorn Network. They weren't going to do that, make them share everything. They're like, what, we'll go over here where they're going to give us more money anyways. So, it's leaning towards that. But man, I just it's so much fun in basketball and baseball with Arkansas because we can compete every year.
Hey, let's talk about baseball for a second.
Yeah.
Did the SEC make a mistake? Did the gods forget? Arkansas baseball this year does not play Tennessee, does not play Texas, does not play LSU, does not play A&M.
They don't play LSU this year?
No. They don't play LSU, A&M, Tennessee, or Texas.
Really?
Nope.
Maybe they know that they're just so tired going in the College World Series every year.
That's what I'm wondering. Now, there is a conspiracy theory out there, and listen to this. And I heard this from a guy he's always got conspiracy theories, okay? But this one does kind of make sense. He's like, Dave Van Horn will never leave until he wins an Natty.
Absolutely
That's
not.
right.
He's going to stay. I had this conversation this morning with a guy I work with, so I agree.
So the rest of the coaches in the SEC got together and went to the SEC and said, look, let's get this guy a natty. We can't recruit against him. We can't recruit against him, okay? Let's get him a natty so he'll retire. And it'll even the playing field.
He absolutely would. He would retire.
I think he would.
Oh, absolutely would. But you are right. I had this conversation today, and he said, they're never going to fire Dave Van Horn. I'm like,
no.
Well, no, he's in the top 5 every year. You're not going to, regardless of our heartbreak.
Who would you replace him?
Yeah, regardless of our heartbreak at the end of the year, in the game, I was like, but we're there every year, so like, no, we're not going to do that. And I was like, he's going to have to win a national championship to retire. Or he's just going to have to pass away, one day of old age, and it might be 93. He might be the head coach of baseball at 93 years old.
When we're gone.
Yeah, but we won't know, know. But he's not leaving, and Arkansas's not firing him.
Yeah.
Like those two things. I mean, he will never be fired from the University of Arkansas.
No.
He could pull the Bobby Petrino and still stay. All right? He could get on a motorcycle and pop some wheelies, and he would still be the baseball coach at the end of the day. So.
Well, I think he's probably a little smarter than Bobby P, and that is, here's the biggest thing of that whole Bobby P situation. Don't lie to your boss.
No.
Get behind them closed doors and say, hey, look
here, man. You're going to have to cover
I'm 58. She's 22. Have you seen her?
Yeah.
You
got to cover for me.
My dad, he used to say this all the time when all that happened. He goes, this would have never happened under Frank Broyles. As an athletic director, he said this would have never happened.
It wouldn't have gotten out.
No, it wouldn't have gotten out. Mm-hmm. He said, and they would have been behind closed, and he said, and it wouldn't be Bobby telling him what happened. It would be Frank telling him. This is what happened, and this is
what we're going to say.
Yeah, because your face, we got to say something.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but you are correct. Do not lie. Just tell the truth. A lot of times, I've learned this too, especially with women. If you lie to women, the chances of them knowing the truth, or they're going to find out the truth through some CIA tactic that they know from some friend on Facebook that, knows, they're going to just tell the truth. Just go ahead and get the punishment there. If there is any, and then
but here's the deal. I found out if they ask you, they already know the truth.
Oh, that,
yeah,
a lot of times
99% of the time.
That is
true.
They
just want to see what you're going to do.
Yeah, that is true.
Or if you win an argument, they'll remind you of something that happened 20 years ago. They said, well, you remember that?
Well,
I thought we were past that. You may be past that, but I'm not.
You're under the mistaken thinking that you can actually win an argument.
Yeah.
Wrong.
Yeah, I still try every now and then. I'm not going to lie, but I've never won one. But I still try.
Well, it's because even if you get a leg up, that argument's over for now. It'll continue next week until they get you back.
Yeah.
Until they now have the leg up.
Yeah. You're right.
I think what women don't understand is and most men don't figure it out till later on. There are 2 words that a woman says more than anything that they'll ever say in a relationship with somebody.
Excuse me?
and that is, well, you.
Yeah.
So anytime that you say something, and I'm being serious, if I could count, you go, hey, hey, could you do, or hey, you did this. Well, you did. Well, you. I mean, I've got some experience with this, and you know what, and I been with the same. You know, I've had girlfriends, and you know what? They all use that word. It is absolutely through. Doesn't matter how they're raised.
It's taught.
Doesn't matter. You know, classification. They all know what "well you" means, and they use it efficiently
and abundantly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. You know, I'll say this. I hit a home run. I hit a home run with my wife, my second wife, and now I'm not saying anything about my first wife. I'm just saying when I decided, okay, I'm gonna try this again. I mean, there were things that had to be like I wanted them, and because you know at that point I'm a single dad with 3 kids, and I'm at that maybe in my 40s, 41, 42 years old, and I'm like, you know, first of all, I'm not going to argue. It's not that important to me. I don't care what it is. I'm just not going to argue with you. And just like they have one of my favorite sayings is, okay. Well, I don't like blah, blah, blah. Okay. You know, I wish you would, okay.
Man, I got to learn that word. I got to learn that word. I'm not.
Oh, yeah.
That's
okay.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you're right.
Well, I think the third one was she had to like golf. Because I remember when you first started dating, you played a lot of golf back then. And I saw her in your cart every time you were on a golf course. So,
and she does like golf, and
because you were like teaching her then, like she didn't know how. She
not really. She didn't really.
She didn't play golf or anything, and then you started like help.
Yeah, she played a little, and she had actually taken a golf class when she was in college. Oh, okay. And was a heck of a putter, you know.
Yeah. And most like women, steady hands, good putting.
And so, but yeah, we put her. And what's funny was there was a tournament out at the club one time, and she won the long drive. Now she's hitting from the Reds, of course, but she won the long drive. I mean,
straight and steady.
You know,
Ricky Rapp, straight and steady.
Oh man, listen, Ricky Rapp and that eagle eye putter of his, man, that guy. That's the thing. You get Ricky Rapp on a green, and you might as well just go ahead and mark it down because he don't miss putts.
And he hits it so straight, and it's like you can out drive him by 150 yards.
Doesn't matter.
Somehow,
but he's going to hit the second
somehow he still gets there sooner than you. You know, what I mean?
That was always Bob Parks. I used to rest in peace. Bob Parks would hit something off the tee at about 150, 170, 80 yards. Then he would get out of 3-wood and he would hit
another
150, 180 yards. And he's on the green in regulation, and he'll 2-putt for par. And at the end of the day, you're coming out of your wallet paying him because
you're on the green end too.
Yeah,
3-putting.
Right, and that's just
football.
Yeah, absolutely.
We took talk about long drives. We took Buddy Hall with us. Have you ever played with Buddy Hall? We took Buddy Hall with us one time on a tournament, and he hits an approach shot, and it was a par 5, and he crushes it. Right, we're 360 yards, you know, down the fairway, and then we hit this approach shot, and most of us are hitting woods. I think a couple of guys were hitting irons, but it's a scramble. And he hits his approach shot, and it bounces on the front of the green a couple of times and rolls off the back. And he's mad, and he's stomping around. And I was like, hey, buddy, know your role. We didn't bring you for your approach shots. I said, you see where we are? Everyone else is going to be at least 60 yards further back from where we're at right now. That's not. We brought you for your drive.
Simmer down.
So, but anyway, thank you, man, so much for being on the show.
I appreciate y'all, man. It's an honor. You know, I'm being very honest with you. You know, I remember, you know, coming back from college, you know, and hearing y'all on the radio every morning, and you know, I mean, y'all show. I mean, I wish there was a show like that now in the morning because I think probably the whole town at that point had it on y'all. You know,
that's what Todd Watley told me the other day too.
I mean, honestly, I mean, you know, I mean, you got to think about it. I'm young. You know, I was young back then. I was 23. You know, and every morning going to work, you know, and it was being on the radio, and then they'd have it and then at work till, you know, you were off the air. So, man, I mean, I really appreciate y'all taking the time with me,
Chris.
too. So,
we're glad you're here.
Yeah, well, I should have read him all this hate mail. We got some hate mail. And
no, you don't.
Yeah.
That's awesome. You know what?
We had fun with it last week.
Yeah, listen, when you're hated, that means you're loved. Remember that.
That's right.
You know,
that's right.
It means you're significant. You know what I mean? Like you're still in someone's lives.
Yeah, we're living rent free in their head for sure.
Absolutely. Man, I wish I had hate mail. I mean,
I'll read you one.
Please do. Please, I really would love to hear something.
And then we'll. Dear Sandy and Boomer, I didn't think it was possible, but you've somehow managed to make me miss the commercials that used to interrupt you on the radio.
Now, we've got a bunch of them that are so good that we think we know who it is.
Yeah.
They're
You got
just
some
dogging us.
taunting you, and then you got some that are serious about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, sometimes it becomes a game. Who can give the best
that's
saying
right.
of the week.
That's right.
So
Well, we're at the point in our lives where we don't care.
yeah,
That's it. That's the.
that part.
My wife says, "I do not care.
Yeah.
I do not care."
But isn't that the greatest freedom in the world?
It
It
is.
is.
Yeah.
To just wake up every day and not give a flying flip what
Right.
the Joneses are doing or what anybody thinks.
My fiance Caitlin, she's a lot younger than me, right? So I've always told her, and I was like, look, at some point there's going to come an age, and I said, it's normally 40. So what I think where you just don't care what people think.
Yeah, you don't care anymore.
You hear the rumors, and instead of going, oh, why did they say that? You're like, whatever.
Yeah.
And you just keep walking on, like,
You
because
be you. You be you.
yeah, she's got a long time to get there, but we're working on it.
My lovely wife hit 40 this year.
Did she?
Yeah, and I'm thankful for it, man. Oh, finally.
Yeah. We got 8 years to go, and I'll be 63 when Chesney graduates high school. So
There you go.
I think that's what he figured out.
I've already picked out my scooter. I'm going to drive on the field.
With the antenna.
Absolutely, have a tennis ball on there.
Yeah.
I got the good stuff going.
Yeah.
So man, I really appreciate the time
Thank you,
with
Chris.
y'all.
Good to see you, man.
Good hanging
As
out with
always,
y'all.
absolutely,
man.
absolutely. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll come back with more of Off the Back Porch right after this.
With a name you trust, you can count on us. Glen Mechanical, plumbing, heating, and air.
For over 6 decades, Glen Mechanical has been specializing in HVAC, plumbing, and all mechanical jobs. 3 generations family owned and operated since 1956. Glen Mechanical's business is based on relationships. They support and give back to the communities they work in. Contact them for all of your HVAC, plumbing, and mechanical needs. GlenMechanical.com.
For nearly 50 years, South Arkansas floors have been covered by El Dorado Custom Carpets. And not just carpets, but true hardwood, laminate, stone, porcelain, ceramic, marble, and more. And guess what? It doesn't end with just floors. El Dorado Custom Carpets carries a tremendous selection of backsplash, wall tile, and area rugs. The truth of the matter is, one commercial can't come close to telling you everything you can find at El Dorado Custom Carpets, 1601 East Main Street in El Dorado. Call 870-862-4945.
Hitting a buck to hang on the wall rarely happens by accident. It starts with preparation, takes some skill, and often even a little luck. Country Village Sporting Goods is your headquarters for all 3. Right now, check out a brand new shipment of feeders, so new that they're still pulling them out of the boxes. A huge selection of lacrosse boots and plenty of warm weather camo for that early season hunt. And of course, bow hunters can't go wrong with the sales and service at Country Village Sporting Goods, 965 Smackover Highway in El Dorado.
Hey, welcome back for more of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer. And Boomer, special thanks to our guest, Chris Nale. Man, he was so much fun.
Yeah, a lot of fun to catch up with Chris again.
It is. And a guy of many talents, for sure.
He is.
And it is funny to hear him, talking about that baby.
And some adult ideas about life now.
He does now, doesn't he? Amazing how that happens. But anyway, so welcome back. We're glad to have you here. Boomer, I thought this was interesting. This is out of Danforth, Maine.
Okay.
For weeks, the Miller family of Danforth, Maine, had been losing sleep over scratching sounds in the night. Quote, "We swore someone was living in our attic," said Denise Miller. "You'd hear thuds, dragging noises, even what sounded like footsteps. It was creepy." The family called police twice. Officers searched the attic both times but found nothing besides a few piles of insulation and a lingering odor. No signs of a person, no sign of a forced entry, said Sergeant Adam Rowe. "We figured raccoons." Mm-hmm. The noises continued, and the Millers couldn't shake the feeling that someone or something was moving around above them. Finally, a wildlife officer suggested setting up a motion-activated camera, and that's where the mystery broke wide open.
Uh-huh.
Reviewing the footage, the family saw a large female black bear pushing open a loose soffit panel on the roof of the house, crawling inside with 2 small cubs in tow. She tucked them into the attic insulation, nosed them like a parent putting kids to bed, and lumbered back out. Hours later, the camera would catch her returning with scraps of food and leading the cubs out.
Isn't that something?
Quote, "She was basically using our attic as a daycare," said Denise Miller. dropping the babies off so she could run errands. Wildlife officials explained that the mother bear likely chose the attic because it was warm, quiet, and away from predators. Quote, "It is unusual," said Game Warden Lisa Carver, "but not impossible, not unheard of totally. Bears are resourceful. If she found a safe entrance and thought it was secure, she would have used it." The Millers were relieved it wasn't a squatter, but also slightly embarrassed because they kept telling everyone they had either the burglar or a ghost. Nope, just a mama bear with childcare needs, said Denise Miller. The family has since had the soffit repaired and is keeping food well secured. The cubs and mother were safely relocated to a more suitable den area by state wildlife officers.
Isn't that wild? That's something. I wonder what made her start looking at the house for a place to stay.
I don't know. I mean,
you know, she could smell them humans in there.
Yeah, but she found that loose soffit board, and I mean, it's amazing.
That is amazing.
You know, but hey, I'm never totally blown away about what animals can do. So, Boomer, here it is. I think I opened Pandora's box last week.
With what?
With reading our hate mail.
Oh, you know, I just
get
some more.
We got a lot more. Yeah. That's why I say I think I opened Pandora's box. I think these are people now who are saying, "Oh, so you will read them?" Now, last week I just chose the funny ones. There were some others. You know, there's always some dumb stuff. You know, about I hate you and you're fat and ugly and all that. And that's fine. But we did get some this week, and I thought I would just share some of them with you if you think your ego can handle it.
No,
because I'm not sure mine can.
We're good.
Okay,
we'll see.
This is the one that I read with Chris earlier. I didn't think it was possible, but you've somehow managed to make me miss commercials that used to interrupt you on the radio. At least those had useful information. Dear Sandy and Boomer, if I wanted to hear two middle-aged guys ramble off topic, I'd just go to Andy's in the morning.
Yeah, it'll happen there.
Wow. Hey, fellas, I listened to your whole show while cleaning the garage. Just want you to know my leaf blower was more entertaining, and it doesn't even work right. Okay. Dear Boomer and the other one.
Oh, we're going to get on me now.
There's no reason for both of you to be there. One of you could leave and no one would ever notice.
But you have all the stuff.
Yeah. To my torturers.
Okay, we're torturing them now.
I tried listening on the way to work. 10 minutes in, I almost begged Siri to play Nickelback instead. That's how bad it was. I kind of like Nickelback. I just, to be honest. Oh, dear God, your podcast feels like being trapped in a line at the revenue office with two guys who insist on telling me about their high school football days. Please stop.
I'm telling you, this. I'm going to call a person out here eventually, because this writing is too good.
Some of it is.
Yeah.
Subject on this email: I hold you personally responsible. Sandy and Boomer. I listened to your podcast on my morning jog and tripped over a curb because I was distracted by how awful you both are. I scraped my knee, ruined my sweatpants, and scared a dog. That's on you.
Wow.
I'm glad to know we have this kind of power.
Why are you listening while you're jogging?
I guess you could just listen anytime, huh? Something to pass the time.
Well, I mean, a podcast has video.
Well, not all of them. I mean,
ours does, is what
ours does, yeah. I listen to more Joe Rogan than I watch Joe Rogan.
Okay.
And so I get it. Let's see. Oh, this one's good. Gentlemen, I wasted 42 minutes of my life listening in my car before realizing I could have just sat in silence. Now I'm down half a tank of gas and even angrier than usual. Venmo me $35 immediately.
We owe him.
Is that my wife? Because it's about $70 to fill her truck up, and they said half a tank, $35. Anyway. Subject, emergency request. Sandy and Boomer, stop, period, talking, period, forever, period. I tried listening with headphones, and my AirPods actually shut themselves off halfway through, like they were begging for mercy. Apple should sue you. Okay. Subject, worst gift ever. Dear Sandy and Boomer, my coworker recommended your show. I no longer speak to him. Thanks to you two, I lost a friendship and any faith in humanity.
Faith in humanity.
Finally. Subject, my ears hate you. I turned on your podcast while cooking dinner. My spaghetti boiled over, my smoke alarm went off, my cat puked on the rug. This is the chaos you brought into my home. Thanks.
We caused all that. Those are too good.
Yes.
Keep them coming.
That's what I say.
I like them.
Yeah, keep them coming.
Keep them coming.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we have Florida Man.
All right.
That's coming up right after this on Off the Back Porch.
Homes are typically heated or cooled 24/7, 365, using nearly half of all home energy. That new stainless steel refrigerator may look cool, but upgrading to the quietest and most efficient HVAC system can have much greater rewards. Choose a system with a Wi-Fi enabled thermostat, so the most important appliance in the house is also the smartest, allowing you to set the perfect comfort level from anywhere. Presented by Lennox. Learn what perfect feels like at Lennox.com.
As the summer growing season begins to slow down, you can still find plenty of homegrown fruits and vegetables at Davis Farms Country Market. Plus, a new shipment of baked goods just hit the shelf. And if you've ever wanted to know the difference between the meat from the big chain stores and locally grown Davis Double D Farms beef, you have to check it out. You'll be amazed, and you may never buy grocery store beef again. All of this and more at Davis Farms Country Market, 4523 Junction City Highway, or call 870-639-1323.
Bad things happen, and of course, they never happen at the right time. Maybe it's just a little bump and cosmetic damage, or it's turned into a huge insurance claim, and you just don't know where to go next. That's why so many of your neighbors and friends call on Cook's Body Shop in El Dorado. From the minor to the major, Cook's Body Shop is in your corner. Need someone to help you deal with insurance? Look to Cook's. Need advice on what to do next? Look to Cook's. Need a free estimate? Look to Cook's. Bad things are going to happen, and when they do, look to Cook's.
Hey, welcome back for more of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer. And Boomer, we're here at our favorite place, and that is Main Street Pizza.
Main Street Pizza, where they have the best pizza in town.
No question.
Yeah.
No
It's
question
right
about
over
it.
there.
Well, part of it is.
Yeah, a fourth of it is.
Yeah, we actually ate a lot more of that pizza
I wish
this
they
week.
wouldn't cut it in so many pieces, though.
Yeah, just 4 pieces would be good.
I can't eat that much. That's sad. That's such a bad joke.
Yeah. Well, Boomer, I thought we'd go with a Florida man.
I'm ready.
All right. This comes from...
I don't mean actually go with him. We're going to talk about it.
No. This comes from Arcadia, Florida. I had to look up where that is. It is on the west coast of Florida, way down into the Gulf of America.
Down on there.
Yeah.
On down there.
Authorities say a Florida man is facing multiple charges after he allegedly tossed a live 3.5-foot alligator through a fast food drive-through window following a dispute over his order. According to the Pasco County Sheriff's Office, 27-year-old Jared J.D. Collins became irate late Monday night after workers at the local Taco Bell gave him the wrong combo meal. Instead of simply asking for a refund or asking for the correct meal, deputies say Collins drove away only to return minutes later with an unusual weapon of choice. Surveillance video shows Collins pulling up to the window, shouting something through the window, and then hurling a live alligator from the passenger seat of his truck into the kitchen. The startled cashier leapt onto the counter while employees scattered. The reptile, later confirmed to be a native Florida alligator, caused minor chaos inside before being safely wrangled by wildlife officers. Quote, "It was confused, probably more than anyone else," said Florida wildlife spokesman Linda Gray. "This isn't exactly normal gator behavior. It's just in the wrong place at the wrong time." Collins was arrested shortly afterwards at his home. Deputies say he admitted to catching the alligator from a local canal that after leaving the drive-thru and thought it would make a point.
Yeah.
It did.
Yeah, pointed you right to jail.
No one was injured in the incident. The alligator was safely released back into a nearby canal. When asked if he had any regrets, Collins reportedly told deputies, "Yeah, I should have went to McDonald's and ordered the chicken nuggets."
Oh, man.
That is your Florida man. How about our favorite game?
Okay.
Ready for it?
All righty.
Drunk, high, or stupid.
Okay, let's get it.
And remember, the rules of the game is they can be any of the three or all three or any combination thereof, okay? It started before dawn in the backwoods outside Rolla, Missouri. 3 men, longtime friends and self-proclaimed outdoor experts, set out on what was supposed to be a simple deer hunt. Last names have been removed. Nathan, Tanner, and Skeeter, all in their mid-40s, all married at least once, and all convinced they know more about firearms than anyone else alive. According to their own statements, they had carefully planned the trip, rifles cleaned, camouflage pressed, snacks packed. Yet somehow by the end of the morning, one of them was bleeding from a shotgun wound to his buttocks, while the other two were trying to explain to deputies why there was a lawn chair strapped to the roof of the pickup truck. Here's what we know. The trio parked the truck at an edge of a cornfield. Two of the men walked into the woods, while the third decided the best vantage point would be from the aforementioned lawn chair on top of the truck cab. He claimed it would give him a 360-degree sniper nest. At some point, one hunter spotted movement in the brush and fired. Unfortunately, the movement was his buddy bending over to tie a bootlace. The buckshot hit him squarely in the backside.
Ooh, man.
The injured man screamed and toppled into a patch of briars and began yelling, he's going to sue both these idiots. His friends panicked, tried to lift him into the bed of the truck, but instead dropped him halfway in, resulting in him dangling upside down with his legs kicking in the air.
Wow.
By the time first responders arrived, they found one man bleeding but stable. A second man trying to explain why he thought wearing blaze orange was unmanly. And a third man trying to work a ratchet strap to remove the lawn chair from the roof. The sheriff's report concluded alcohol may have been a factor. Substances may have been a factor. Poor decision making was definitely a factor. So, Boomer, our question, were they drunk, high, or stupid?
Yes. Now, they were stupid. If you're drunk or high, you still realize that strapping a lawn chair to the top of a car is a bad idea.
Bad idea, yes.
So you have to be stupid to do that.
Correct.
And drunk and high just makes it more likely that you will do that.
That you will do it, that's right.
So that's my take.
Well, you know me, I'm always here for the comments, right?
Uh-huh.
So I read the comments under this news story. Oh, my gosh.
Okay.
So Sharon L. says, y'all, this is 100% drunk behavior. Only a man with whiskey courage thinks a lawn chair on a roof truck is a hunting stand.
Mm-hmm.
Tim R. Nope, I know these guys. Trust me, they were high. One of them once tried to fish with a toaster and an extension cord.
Oh, dear Lord.
Pam K. Honestly, don't underestimate pure stupidity. Booze wears off, but dumb is forever.
Yeah, there you go. She hit it on the nail.
Gary W. As a lifelong hunter, let me just say this. If your buddy shoots you in the butt and then drops you trying to load you in the truck, he's not drunk. He's just an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Crystal D. My cousin dated one of these guys. Can confirm the answer is all of the above.
There you go.
Earl J. Sheriff's report said alcohol may have been a factor. Sir, them men have had Busch Light in their bloodstreams instead of platelets. Janet H. I just want to know if the guy kept the buckshot. My husband's cousin wears his in a necklace like a badge of honor. # Missouri classy.
Uh-oh. Missouri classy. Yeah.
Yeah. Derek L. I don't care if they were drunk, high, or stupid, but somewhere there's a deer laughing its antlers off.
That's it. That's the best one.
I thought so, too.
Yeah.
So always the comments are better to me.
Yeah.
Always better. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll have more of Off the Back Porch right after this.
Hell, there's hell everywhere I go. I'm just sticking with the devil I know. Mama says get my ass to church. Daddy says get my ass to work. Doctor says I gotta give up on these smokes.
Whether it's protecting families from the predators in nature, to helping food taste better and last longer naturally, or just making sure the local ball field is at its best, Lanxess is involved in our everyday lives. With more than 450 employees locally and more than $32 million in payroll each year, Lanxess is doing their part to be a good neighbor and leader in South Arkansas. With that in mind, remember to call before you dig. Know what's below. In Arkansas, it's the law and it's a free service. Call 811 before you dig. This brought to you by Lanxess. Serving South Arkansas for 25 years, and all the while expanding and growing throughout the state, ProMed Ambulance is proving their motto of world-class care and hometown values. For example, their new mobile integrated healthcare communication center. This state-of-the-art facility allows communication specialists to work directly with local 911 call centers to ensure the closest medical team is always dispatched to any emergency. World-class care and hometown values. For more information and career opportunities, go to ProMedAmbulance.com. Hey, welcome back for more of Off the Back Porch with Sandy and Boomer, and thanks to our sponsors who've all been fabulous at helping keeping us going. Boomer, this is our 24th episode.
It's hard to believe. It didn't seem like it's been that many so far.
It didn't, but 24 episodes. And I know that's small time.
Neither here nor there.
In the world of podcasting, but it's cool.
Yeah.
Cool for us. How about another Florida man?
Always.
How about if the Florida man is a woman?
So it'll be Florida woman.
Yeah.
Okay. Not Florida man is a woman.
No.
It's a Florida woman.
Florida woman.
Okay,
yeah.
I got you.
Inverness, Florida. I don't know where that is. You know how people say if you don't move, they might not see you?
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. Well, Stacy Usher apparently took that to a whole new level. Deputies had been looking for her, and they were surprised to find her hiding inside a couch. It's not one of those hide-a-bed ones. A normal sit-on-it, cushions and everything couch.
Okay.
Here's how it went down. Stacy Usher had been on the run since early November for a probation violation, alleged to be involved in selling fentanyl and illegally using two-way communication device and a bunch of other stuff. She was the quote-unquote warrant of the week at the sheriff's department. They had posters, mugshots, social media, the works, right? So they're looking for her. They get a tip that she's at this particular house. So deputies go knocking. No one answers the door. But they hear something, and they think, okay, she's in there. And they go into the house, and they're looking for her, calling out who they are. They have a warrant, nothing.
No answer.
Finally, one of the deputies looks over, and the couch just doesn't look right. Pulls the cushions off.
There she is.
And there she is. She's
wedged in there.
Hidden down behind the stable bar there that holds the cushions. And kind of plowed herself in there, and they pull her out. Deputies lift the cushions. Something rustles. They pull her out, and they asked her, said, "Did you not think we would see you in there?" And she said, "Well, it was better than pretending I was a piece of carpet."
Oh, man.
Other details, because it gets better. Stacy is a convicted felon in not just one, but 3 Florida counties. Citrus, Manatee, and Pasco. Didn't we just do a story from Pasco, Florida? Yeah. Fraud, grand theft, worthless checks. She's got a resume longer than the couch.
Wow.
And so they
life of crime.
They were able to get her and
Florida woman
and point her out and
it'd have been better if it's Florida man as a woman.
As a woman, that would have been better.
Yeah, we're gonna have to find one of those.
Oh, I'm sure there is one.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean,
so, let's talk about some of the stuff that's going on around the area.
All right.
And this one was sent to me, and I think this is going to be amazing. It is a Wildgame Buffet that is going to happen.
The buffet
on Friday, October the 10th, and it's going to be. Man, I can't read that address.
Can I hold it?
Yeah. That's a 515
West 8th Street. 615 or 815.
Yeah, West 8th Street. Pre-dinner activities include a bow shooting competition, knife sharpening, and more. They are raising awareness and funds for the White Mountain Apache people in Arizona. Amazing food, fantastic giveaways, guest speaker. For more information, our tickets, call 870-665-1875. Now, wait till you hear what's on the menu.
Okay.
Because this is the part that got me.
All right.
I can't be there. It's a Friday night. It's a football game.
Yeah.
I can't be there. But the appetizers.
In a boat.
Barbecue buffalo meatballs.
Okay.
Goat tacos. Crawfish dip. And bread and veggies and dip.
Uh-huh.
Then a salad. The main course.
Yeah.
Venison shepherd's pie.
Uh-huh.
Rabbit, squirrel, and alligator gumbo with rice. Fried apples, green beans, and a dinner roll.
Wow.
Dessert. Banana cream pudding. Chocolate Nutella mousse cake. Vanilla cheesecake with fruit. Vanilla cheesecake with maple walnut sauce. Mini pecan pies. And they will have sweet tea.
Who's putting all that on?
Water. Well, that is the Church at the Armory.
Okay.
So again, they are raising this money for a mission trip for the White Mountain Apache people.
Okay.
And it's all Inca. A Door of Hope is a ministry founded 30 years ago by Ramona Hill to the White Mountain Apache people in Sibique, Arizona. These indigenous peoples, Geronimo's tribe, who live on a reservation, have a 90% poverty rate, 85% illiteracy rate, as well as rampant drug and alcohol abuse. Suicide is a dark force among those people. The Door of Hope comes along These people not only providing hope, but establishing impactful relationships that they must know they are not forgotten.
Good. That's a good ministry.
Twice a year, Walmart donates empty semis and their drivers, including providing their wages to drive to the from Ramona Hill's warehouse, where she's collected goods to be distributed to the people. Upon arriving at the reservation, the supplies, food, and clothing are given to the people who receive them with humble and thankful hearts.
Mm-hmm.
This August, 3 semis will be arriving on the reservation as an act of kindness that will bring hope and healing to an often overlooked situation. The goals for the Wildgame Buffet include raising funds to cover traveling expenses and providing manpower to unload, set up, and distribute the semi-loads of supplies. The funds will also cover supplies gathered locally that are taken to meet the needs of the White Mountain Apache people, including but not limited to Bibles, school supplies, and blankets. Awareness for the needs of the White Mountain Apache people, and a fun community activity. There is a link if you want to get a visual insight, and I will put it up here on the screen. It's a YouTube link, and there at the bottom of the screen. Go to that link, and you can find out more about the White Apache people. Mm-hmm. They also have sponsorship opportunities, and I'm going to read some of the sponsors.
Okay.
Their Monster Buck sponsor is Rivers Investment Group. Black Bear sponsor is Davis Farms Country Market. They still have a waterfowl sponsor available. That is 4 tickets to the event and a logo or business name on all event materials for $750. The Red Fox sponsor is Code 3 Services. They're also going to give away a PGM deer feeder used as the grand prize, a pallet of deer corn plus feed. That's been donated by Century 21 United, Jason Reed. They're going to give away a Traeger Pro Series 22 wood pellet grill.
Mm-hmm.
Tacticam Reveal Pro 3.0 LTE cellular trail camera. And a hunting knife handmade by Chris Jones of Lucky Jones Knives. And let me just tell you, I've seen Chris Jones's knives. Mm-hmm. They are the ultimate. I mean, they are fabulous, what he does. They are also giving away thermal cell mosquito repellent and a mossy oak turtle box that was donated by Williams Orthodontics. And again, I will give you that phone number one more time if you would like to call. It is 870-665-1875. And again, sounds like it's going to be a great time.
Great time, great cause.
Going to be a lot of fun going on there. Of course, there's always you got Ashley McBride coming up at the Murphy Arts District. And for more information on anything happening there, you can go to eldomad.com.
That's going to be a good concert. I think I'm going to make that one. I may stay up past 9 o'clock for that one.
Think so?
I might.
You'll have to.
I know if you're going to go.
If you're going to go,
have to. Yep. So,
yeah. What else you got?
Well, I got an interesting thing that I saw that you always see happen on this date things, and I didn't know this.
Hang on. Why are you blue? You got little spatches of blue over your face, your hands.
Oh.
I wasn't going to say anything, but I'm sitting here thinking, we're about to wrap up, and I hadn't asked yet. Now I'm going to ask, and if I need to edit it out, I will. But
I was hoping you wouldn't see it, but let me ask you this, and I need to bounce this off of you. Have you ever had something happen to you that seemed so unbelievable that it seemed like a dream?
Definitely.
Okay.
I married her.
There you go. You figured it out. It's not a dream.
So far, yeah.
So if you ever had something that you dreamt about that seemed so realistic that it felt like it was real life?
Oh, yeah. Definitely have had that happen, too.
Well, let me ask you which one of this is. I either dreamt or I actually had an encounter with Papa Smurf. Do you think that was a dream? Or was that real life?
Because you have blue all over you. I'm just saying. You have blue splotches.
Okay.
Boomer.
All right. Look here. I'm going to tell you what really happened.
Y'all can't see it because we're far back from the camera, but there's little blue specks on it.
I'm going to tell you the truth now, okay?
Okay, yeah. That's when the lies start.
You play golf a whole bunch, and if you play at a real nice golf course, and if you see it on TV, all of the water is blue.
Oh yeah, really.
You think, oh man, they've got great water there?
Yeah.
Well, come to find out, it's just stuff called blue pond.
Yeah.
And you just throw it in the pond,
Mm-hmm.
and it makes it blue, and it's to shade the water so stuff won't grow. So I did that at my pond. And I'm thinking I'm doing good. I'm pouring it off. It's gallons. I'm pouring it off in a little cup and slinging it way out there, and I'm getting close in the water. And I get through it. I'm telling you, I've scrubbed and scrubbed and scrubbed. I had blue from my socks up to my shorts on my hands. And someone said, "When did you get a black eye?" I said, "Well, it's actually a blue eye because I did this." So that's where all the blue came from.
Okay. Okay.
But it would have been better if it had been Papa Smurf, would it?
It would have been, yes.
Or one of them little Keebler elves. They could have got me some cookies.
Speaking of black eyes, my 9-year-old has a shiner.
How'd she get that?
She was running behind a swing set on the playground at recess.
Oh.
And I literally had a parent say to me, "What happened to her eye?" I said, "Well, she was running behind a swing set. Kids were swinging and
conked her
an eye." They should do something about those swing sets.
Oh, dear Lord.
No.
You teach the child not to run behind them.
That's my thing. I said, "Look, she's smart. It won't happen a second time."
Hey, we used to go to the park when I was very little in Morgan City that I thought was a huge metal slide. It only took you one time to realize that you can't slide down that slide with shorts on when it's hot.
When it's hot, that's right.
You figured it out. So what we would do is it was real sandy and dirty. We'd
take sand
and throw it up on that metal slide, and so it wouldn't burn our little bahonkus.
That's right.
So,
very innovative.
And those kids that fell off the monkey bars and hurt something, they didn't breed. You know, we
need is a good game of lawn darts.
What we need around here.
You know, I mean, there was, and for those parents who lost a child,
yeah, I'm sorry.
Obviously, it's not funny.
No, it's not funny.
But there was a thinning of the herd. I mean, if little JoJo ran over there and shoved something into the outlet,
yeah,
chances are,
if he lived, he didn't do it again.
He didn't do it again.
Yeah, and he would stop other children.
Yeah, no. You don't want to do that.
You mustn't do this.
You don't want to do that. You know, running out there and playing tag on the interstate. I mean, you learn, or you suffer the consequences.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Daddy always told me, he said, "Son, life's hard. It's even worse when you're stupid."
Yeah. So don't be stupid.
Don't be stupid.
So on this date,
yes.
Let me ask you this. It was 1978, so you were
1978. At this time, I would have been 6, about to turn 7.
So you probably wouldn't remember who Menachem Begin is.
Oh, yeah. He was the
Anwar
prime
Sadat.
minister of Israel, and Anwar Sadat was from Egypt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they had an agreement.
I'm a political nerd.
You are. I forgot about that. The 12 days of meetings at the U.S. presidential retreat, Camp David.
With Jimmy Carter.
With Jimmy Carter. And he thought he brought the world together.
Yeah. Yeah.
It happened on this date. In 1997, Dr. Sam Shepard's body is exhumed for DNA test.
Sam Shepard, wasn't he the one who was wrongfully accused of being a serial killer?
Yes.
Okay.
There you go. And this is one that just really got to me and may have affected you. In 2010, on this date, the final episode of soap opera As the World Turns.
Really?
Is broadcast, ending a 54-year run.
See, now, okay. Anyone who's our age, probably down into their late 30s, at least can identify with this. You know, I always tell you that families are broken up into Ford or Chevy, Democrat or Republican, Coke or Pepsi. And then you were also either an ABC, NBC, or CBS soap opera watcher.
Yeah, Another World or As the World Turns. Or...
So at my house growing up, like when I would go visit my mom during the summers and stuff, she would watch The Young and the Restless on CBS. Mm-hmm. But as soon as it went off, she flipped over to ABC so she could watch All My Children, One Life to Live, and General Hospital.
Yeah, those were.
And that was her. The shows she watched. Mm-hmm. And then when my grandparents retired, they had never watched soap operas in their life. They started watching soap operas.
They saw daytime TV.
The stories.
The stories. Yeah,
they call them their stories.
I had a little aunt named Lily, and she would come and she was a small person, and she would come and stay with us for weeks at a time. And brother, you had to. She had her Coke and something to eat in front of the TV, watching As the World Turns, brother. And you just better not. If I couldn't even be a little kid at that time.
My grandparents, they did the same thing. They watched The Young and the Restless, then flipped over to ABC, and they would watch All My Children, One Life to Live, and General Hospital.
You know, Martha keeps it on ABC a lot because she watches Good Morning America. I don't know why. And I'll come in the kitchen at lunchtime, and I said, ain't that the same people that was on there 35 years ago? I said, they just old now. So
yeah.
Hey, also, in 2011, a demonstration happened on Wall Street.
Was that the Occupy Wall Street?
Occupy Wall Street thing.
Yeah, the one percenters.
One percenters, and it doesn't seem like it's that.
It doesn't seem like it was that long ago.
2011. And then the one that got me, and you questioned it too, was that the article was 1787 Declaration of Independence is what the article headline was. That it was in 1787 on this date before the Declaration of Independence was totally signed and documented. 11 years. Past 1776.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they signed it.
Yeah, they signed it then, but it was
maybe it wasn't officially archived.
Oh, whatever. Yeah. I was wanting to get in further into that to find out what happened, but that article didn't say.
You know, the United States, when they first declared independence. And won their Revolutionary War against Great Britain, we operated under something called the Articles of Confederation.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And basically, it was just a hodgepodge of
they just put it together.
Every state could do what they wanted, and you know, if you were in Georgia and you traveled to South Carolina, well, South Carolina could charge you a tax just for coming across the line, and so Georgia said, "Well, I'll be danged, you're going to do that to our people. We're going to start doing it to yours." And then it just grew from a mess from there, and then you'd have guys who would pack up their whiskey and take it to another state where the whiskey tax was real low, and pay the whiskey tax there, and then come back to their state and they say, "Well, I've already paid the tax. Here's where I paid the tax," and then this state wasn't getting any revenue from it. And it was doomed for failure. And then almost, and there are those of us who believe, divinely inspired, we got the Constitution, which set up 3 separate branches of the government who had checks and balances and should be equal in the decision-making process, and thus began our experiment into a democratic republic.
And next year will be 250 years. Isn't that good? Isn't that good?
250 years since the declared independence. Yes. Yeah, and it's the something centennial. I know for 150
deuce and a half. Deuce and a quarter.
I know for the 150, it's a sesquicentennial, but I don't know what it is for a 250. A double sesquicentennial.
Some of that.
Something like that, yeah. So you leave a comment down below and tell us what it's really called. I don't know.
Or some hate mail about how stupid
or some more hate mail about how dumb we are. And
I kind of like it.
My whole thing is you can think we're dumb all you want to, but you clicked on us.
Yeah.
We didn't invade you.
That's right.
You clicked on us.
Yeah.
So more power to you.
Good day today, Sandy.
It was a good day. In the meantime, we're going to get out of here, and no Wildcat game this week. Wildcats have a bye week, but our Wildcat coverage has been fantastic.
Good.
Man, it has been
good.
Carter and Jax are doing such a good job.
And I caught the coach's corner too. And
I don't think we can use that name.
Okay.
Fifth and goal.
Fifth and goal.
And I think beginning next week, he will actually get the coach from Strong.
Okay.
Because Strong's football season doesn't begin until next week.
Okay.
And because they play 8-man football.
Yeah.
And so that's going to be interesting to have him on. Got a first-year coach at Parker's. I think it's his first year at Parker's Chapel. And it's going to be interesting to see how he does. And, man, Smackover's playing good ball. Junction is going to try to, bounce back from a heartbreaking loss at Smackover last week. El Dorado, man, good night. They're playing great football.
Yeah, looking good.
I tell you, and in full transparency, I knew this kid because I coached him in baseball in Little League. But Bratavian Brown, just a fabulous athlete. Man, he is all over that field. And then, of course, Ishmael last week with 2 interceptions, and one of them was a pick 6. For El Dorado. There's some good football going on right
there
now.
Is.
And so
the
if you're missing out, that's your fault because there's some really good football going on. Razorbacks play this week. They take on Memphis. And heartbreaking loss to Ole Miss.
Gosh, that was tough.
Anytime we could beat Lane Kiffin, I would enjoy it.
Yes.
To the utmost. As a matter of fact, I'm a Nick Saban fan. I was a Saban fan when he was at LSU. I was a Saban fan when he was with the Dolphins. I was a Saban fan when he went to Alabama, right? Mm-hmm. And nothing made me happier than, they were talking all that smack about, Lane Kiffin was going to be the first former assistant to beat Saban. Mm-hmm. And they interviewed Kiffin right before the game, and he tells the reporters, get your popcorn ready. Well, it was like 45-2 or 45-3 at halftime. Alabama was up over them, and I was like, yeah, how's that popcorn tasting now, buddy?
Looking for you now, babe.
Yeah. So, Lane Kiffin, man.
Yep.
We were talking about what Arkansas does at the head football coach's position. I think unless Sam Pittman probably wins 8 or 9 games, they get rid of him, and I hate that because I think
7, but I think it's. I had somebody say going to be more than 7, or he's gone.
I think Sam Pittman is a fabulous man and a good coach. Mm-hmm. I think that I think we are seeing now what we perceived had been happening previously, and that is there's just such a wide berth between the top SEC schools, and the others. Mm-hmm. Obviously, no one has more money than Texas and Texas A&M.
A&M beat Notre Dame.
Yeah.
You see all them Notre Dame people.
Oh,
their mouths were agape.
That was almost as fun as watching Auburn people cry.
Yeah.
I love when Alabama beats Auburn. I don't care who the coach of Alabama is.
Yeah.
I love it because those Auburn people really think they have a chance. They really believe.
Just because they ran one back from the end zone 107 yards and beat them one time.
That one, and that was the national championship that year,
was
by
a
the way.
freak.
Yes, it was a freak. It was a freak. It's an outlier, you know. But anyway, I mean, to me, it's kind of like that coach, and I don't remember what Little Rock school it was, but they came to El Dorado to play us during the Scott Reed era, and El Dorado just beating the brakes off of them, man. I mean, just whipping them. And that coach got so mad, he sat his team down on the field and wouldn't get up. The police department, the sheriff's department had to find, Union County Sheriff's Office had to come and get him and physically remove him from the field. And I remember thinking, did he really think they had a chance? Is he mad because he really felt like they had a chance to win? Dude, El Dorado at that time was 3-time state champion.
What would he think he's going to do?
I don't know.
Protest that he was getting treated incorrectly?
I don't know. I know he was ejected from the game and had to be physically removed. Kelly Gall and I were doing the games at the time.
Okay.
And I remember asking Kelly, I was like, did he really think? He said, man, I don't know. To this day, it still surprises me.
A mystery.
But I think we talked about it a little when Chris Nale was here earlier, and that is Arkansas baseball. Man, they got a cupcake. It appears to be a cupcake of a schedule.
Yeah.
Now, they do have Vanderbilt. They do have to play Kentucky, and they do have to play Florida in baseball.
But not Tennessee, LSU,
not playing
A&M,
Tennessee,
or Texas.
LSU, Texas A&M, or Texas. That's a gift.
That is a gift.
It's about time.
Yeah.
It's about time one went your way. I don't know. I not playing LSU. That just how? How does that
there's
happen?
so many in the SEC now, I guess. But baseball looks like you'd have to play all of them.
You would think, but you don't.
Okay.
And you'd
have too many conference games.
We hadn't played Vanderbilt in a number of years, so at least not in the regular season.
Yeah.
We might play them in the SEC tournament, or you might play them in Omaha or something. But it just okay.
Yeah.
Here we
we'll
go.
Take it.
I think we do play Ole Miss, play Mississippi State, play Florida, play Georgia, play South Carolina, play Missouri. Yeah, but no Texas, no A&M, no LSU, no Tennessee. Which I don't care if we ever play Tennessee again. Tony Vitello, man.
Yeah, really.
I'm just not a Tony Vitello fan. I'm sorry, you don't get to holler at my head coach.
Yeah.
And I know he and Dave Van Horn and DVA just said, man, listen, that's got blown way out of proportion.
That's him.
That's just, don't worry about it. Man, that was momentary heat of the battle. Sorry. You may look at it that way.
Yeah,
the rest of us look at it as he was being disrespectful.
Yeah, don't holler at our coach.
To our longtime, much beloved coach. I had a coach in high school. He was never the head coach of anything. He and I don't know if that was by design or if that was just his talent ability, but he was never the head coach. He was always the JV coach, or he was an assistant, but he was never the head coach. But his name was Coach Bean. And Coach Bean was 137 years old when I was a kid. I mean, he was old. And smart as a whip, and just a good, gentle man. But if you wanted to see a team rally around him, let an umpire throw our coach out. Because Coach Bean was not known for having a quick temper or hot head. But now when he got after you, he got after you.
Yeah.
And he got chalked out of a game one time, and we as a team in a baseball game rallied and come back and beat this really, really good team full of Dominicans, and came back and beat them on their own field because they threw our coach out of the game.
There you go. Fired y'all up.
I remember one time I don't remember exactly the play, but ball bounced off my chest, went straight up. I jump in the air and grab it and make this fantastic throw across the diamond and get the kid out at third base. And my nose was bleeding because the ball, when it came up, it hit me in the face. Coach calls timeout, and he comes out there with a towel, and he's wiping my nose. And, back then we thought you put your head back.
Yeah, with it all draining your sinuses.
Yeah. And so I'm got my head pulled back, and he's standing there, and he said, Sanford, this ain't no effing circus. Put a tent over that crap. Coach, I just made an ESPN-worthy play if ESPN had been a thing.
And you want me to...
And you're telling me put a tent over that circus, So, okay. That was Coach Bean, though.
There you go.
That was Coach. I remember one time he...
Rub a little dirt on it, that type of coach.
Oh, he was definitely that kind. And Coach Bean was all of about 4'11".
Oh.
And he would just... Man, he would light an umpire up if that umpire was wrong about something. And I don't remember the exact play, but Coach Bean went out to tell the umpire, and the umpire said, well, that's how I see it. And he said, well, you're full of shit. And they tossed him.
You think? You don't get to say that.
No.
Well, once.
Yeah, you can say anything once.
Yeah.
All right, that's going to do it for us this week. We appreciate you so much for being part of the show and being here with us. Drop a comment below. Be sure to share it. Again, you can find us on Spotify or YouTube or at our website, southarkansasnow.com. If you have a news event or an event coming up that you would like for us to mention in our upcoming events, we'll be happy to do that for you. Just send us an email to news, N-E-W-S, at southarkansasnow.com. For Boomer, I'm Sandy. God bless and have a great week.